be killed. What would you do? How far would you go? If you thought that you could change the world for the greater good, how would you know what's right or wrong? Try to play God, mail a bomb to the CEO of a school or an airline. Do you justify murder for peace? Do you believe that technology is the beast? Imagine if your iPhone disappeared, that would be weird. Could you function in the world without technology, or would you be scared? What would you do? How far would you go?
Yeah, how you doing, the freak?
What's going on, TML?
Yeah, blessings.
You too. So it's been an interesting couple of weeks, I guess, with Landry and all the drama going around and everything else lately, yeah?
Oh, yeah. But I think I pressed him, and I think, I think, it was fundamental that people see all the angles of that. Right? So, I mean, I personally don't know why 3.5 shows are focused on one particular person. But they've also been obsessed with this dude, right? So there's a lot to be said for that, right?
What if Brown Boy is right?
Well, that's the thing is that, when he was sort of flailing on stage there at OTW, it was that thing that Brown's Boy posted, right? I just brought it up. He posted it right in the Discord, right? I brought it up on screen, blew that dude out of the water, right? Because he was there calling out all these people in private messages, but then having very friendly relations with them in public. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
It kind of speaks for itself there. But anybody who has eyes to see, ears to hear, it is what it is.
Yeah. And then I saw you over at Gen X Jeff, and you guys were talking and stuff, and I'm right there with you, man. So I hope things get better, and with your wife and everything else, and I'm definitely a big fan.
Yeah, thanks for that, DeFreak. Yeah, blessings. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. So anyway, I heard Dark Scribe up here earlier, doing his thing and everything, and it was pretty cool. Oh, yeah. Well, first, before I get into that, I want to say that, what is it, Avion Buddhist?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude is pretty cool, man. He's creative, he's, smart, and seems like just like a powerhouse in his own right. Like I like him as a guest.
Yeah, I agree. He's intelligent in ways I could possibly never comprehend. But yeah, definitely, I've enjoyed talking to him. As I have you, my friend.
Oh, thanks.
I greatly appreciate our correspondence. Yeah,
I'm blushing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, no, of course, dude. You've been a great contribution to the show. And the many times you've come on, and remarkable conversations. So yeah, dude, I appreciate you.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm glad I could, because you're definitely the GOAT in this space. Like the ins and outs. You put in the work. That's you put in the time and the work, and so like, to me, you're the smartest guy in the Panelverse. So that's all there is to it. Like if there was a cult thing going on, you would definitely be my leader.
Yeah, I appreciate you, brother. But it's game recognized game, so takes an intelligent person to realize intelligence. All right.
So yeah, shout out to Avion Buddhist and Dark Scribe. He's a powerhouse all his own. But he was talking about like the meeting and the reason and why got this and why got that. It kind of like keeps him up at night or whatever. He didn't say it like that. I'm paraphrasing, but the book of Melchizedek. I keep going back to this thing, but so many of the answers that, like those questions, so many of those answers are in this book. And so I was wondering if you wanted to maybe, start a review of it again or whatever, because it could
of course. Yeah, you could do your own show here, DeFreak.
All right. All right.
Yeah, you just bring up the book of let me just say, okay, it's the Freak Show. The Freak presents the book of Melchizedek on the Manchine Lies. You're welcome to do that, my friend. Just as I've invited many others. Hank Oflamio, he's made shows here. Ragamuffin Vision, he's made shows here, right? And I've given them direction to do their entire show. Today, Avian Buddha did a presentation. Very insightful presentation.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
All right. That's cool.
Yeah, of course.
So,
of course, you're welcome, my friend.
Now a bad time to start.
No, it's not.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead, my friend. Yeah, I'm just eating my food.
Screen.
I'm preparing to fast for today, so yeah.
All right.
Go ahead.
And this is about, this segment here, like the first chapter is only like 7 minutes. And it will describe like the creation of the universe and stuff like that, and Lucifer, right? And chapter 2 really starts getting meaty as to the whole issue and the problem of good and evil, and why it was actually kind of implemented into our reality, which is probably what Dark Scribe would really want to key in on, but we'll see how far we get. So let me go ahead and here we go.
The Book of Melchizedek, King of Righteousness. Part 1, read by Alexander Scourby. The secret knowledge given first from the temple of Lord to Melchizedek, the King of Peace, King of Heaven upon the earth, the great high priest after the order of the Son of God, then from Melchizedek to Abraham, Melchizedek's authority as King of Salem, later Jerusalem, and priest of the God Most High. He spoke of God as both creator and deliverer. He was also King of Peace, righteousness and peace. Chapter 1, The History of the Universe. Before there was a star to shine, before there were angels singing, had a heaven, the home of the eternal, the only God. Perfect wisdom, love and glory, the eternal lived in eternity, before achieving his beautiful dream, the creation of the universe. The countless beings that comprised the creation were all conceived with great affection. Since the inner atom to gigantic galaxies, all deserved his supreme regard. Music lover, God conceived the universe as a great orchestra, under his rule, should vibrate harmonious chords of justice and peace. For every creature, he has composed a love song. The Lord was very happy because...
Real quick. So it talks at the beginning about being the creator and the deliverer, the Most High and everything. And I find that interesting because, you could create something, but you also have to maintain it or sustain it in order for it to persist into the future of linear time, right? You can't just neglect something and expect it to just take care of itself in a certain sense. So I find that interesting. And then also in this very first paragraph here of chapter 1, it talks about, the eternal having a dream or conceiving things. And, a lot of, that should really relate to us as humans, because we do dream and we have dreams and we have, other kind of dreams of say professional aspirations and dreams and goals and stuff like that. And we also conceive of things, and that is how we are a creative species, right? So I find all that very interesting. And then it says, of course, he's a music lover, and so he created everything in kind of a harmonious composition of a ballad or a opera or something in a production. So I find that interesting as well. Any thoughts?
Yeah, like David sung the Psalms, right? And then I think sound has a lot to do with creation as well, right? I think creation is like music, right? Like as Plato said, it's music of the spheres or whatever. Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, fascinating. Yeah.
Very fascinating. Right, here we go.
because his dreams were to be realized. Moving himself with majesty, began his work of creation. Your hands shaped primarily a world of light, and on it a mountain blazing over which would forever be executed the throne of the universe. the sacred mountain called Yahweh. From Zion, base of the throne, the Eternal did squirt a crystal-clear river to represent the life of him would flow to all creatures. As the throne room created a beautiful paradise that stretched for hundreds of miles around the Mount Zion called the Paradise, Eden. South of heaven, on both banks of the River of Life, were built many mansions adorned with precious stones, which were intended for the angels, the ministers of the kingdom of light. Circling Eden and angelic mansions built a wall of Yahweh jasper lamp posts, along which could be seen large portals, pearls. With joy beheld the eternal capital dreamed. The city in its splendor was adorned like a bride ready to receive her husband. Affectionately called it the great architect, Jerusalem, city of peace. God was to bring into existence the first rational creature. It would be a glorious angel, the most honorable of all, adorned by the brilliant.
Real quick. So, you know, we talk about like the differences between mankind and animals and, you know, all different sorts of things between like what separates us as what this book would call a rational being. And we see like the beings that are created in the heavens and the angels and stuff, those are called rational beings. And so I kind of like to reference that as a distinction between, say, veganism, right, and what we actually are in the eyes of God. Any thoughts?
Yeah, because you know, it's talking about rational beings, not in comparison to animals, as you said, but in angels. So when it said creation of the first rational being, I really thought I was going to say man. So it was a plot twist when it went to angels, right? For sure.
Oh, here we go.
Of peace. God was to bring into existence the first rational creature. It would be a glorious angel, the most honorable of all. Adorned by the brilliance of gemstones, this angel live on Mount Zion as the representative of the King of Kings before the universe. Much love, the Creator began to model the firstborn of the angels. All wisdom applied to form it, making it perfect. Tenderly granted him life, the beautiful angel, like that awaking from a deep sleep, opened his eyes and beheld the face of his Maker. With joy, the Eternal showed him the beauties of heaven, telling him of his plans, which were beginning to materialize. To be led to the place of his abode, to the throne, the Prince of the Angels was grateful, and with melodious voice sang his first song of praise. From the heights of Zion unraveled itself in the eyes of beautiful angel, Jerusalem in its vastness and splendor. The river of life, the serene glide through the city, resembled a broad avenue, mirroring the beauty of the Garden of Eden and the angelic mansions. Involving the firstborn of the angels with his robe of light, the Eternal began to speak to him of the principles that were to govern the universal kingdom. Physical and moral laws should be respected to the fullest extent of the divine government. Moral laws summarized in two principles: love God above all things and our neighbor Horn himself. Every rational creature should be a channel through which the Eternal could well have another life and light. Thus, the universe would grow in harmony, happiness, and peace. In the kingdom of Yahweh, the laws would not be enforced with rigor. The subjects were free. Obedience should arise spontaneously, in a gesture of appreciation and gratitude. In this realm of freedom,
Real quick. So this, I think this shows that you know, where the subjects were to be free, right? This is the proof of free will. Like all the different sects and all the different arguments and all the different theories and, you know, anything that you can think of in between the different religions or whatever. Like I think this pretty much shows that we are free agent, free-minded individual, able to make, you know, a choice between what is presented to us, right? And maybe I cut it off too early, but basically he says that without that, God says that without that, like really there's no point to it, right? Any thoughts?
Yeah, if you move one grain of sand, you change the world, right? So, you know, I think, you know, the issue with free will is like sort of the hyper determinism, free will is too powerful, right? That it affects everyone else's decisions and all of that type of stuff. So yeah, it's like the
Facts.
butterfly effect.
Definitely, and we're going to see that here when Lucifer gets a little too curious for his own good.
Yeah, and by the way, I think there's only one timeline, so there's no multiverse thing. So I think God can intersect in the timeline. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
God is all powerful. So yeah, I think this whole concept is, because free will is a concept that's defined by God's liberty first and foremost. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. He can do whatever he wants as well. Absolutely. So
Right.
yeah, he's not locked in. He's not locked into anything. He can change everything, and we wouldn't even know it. And he wouldn't even, we wouldn't even know it. And if he, created us in the second version, right? But to me, when you talk about the multiverse thing or whatever, to me, if you look at like Revelation 21, 3, I think it is, it talks about like the tabernacle of God is with men. And so we are so very close to the God in terms of our position in the ultimate reality of eternity, that we are actually the nuanced witness and establishment of what is good and evil. So our testimonies are what are establishing the evil and good, and therefore it can be judged as good or evil, and that will kind of set precedent for the rest of eternal creation. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's a radical concept. It definitely makes sense.
Right.
It ties into some of the things I was saying in the first part of the show for sure about how that laws of nature are not fixed. The ideas of morality are evolving and changing and all this type of stuff. So fascinating insights.
Yeah, I would agree with that. All right, here we go.
Freedom, disobedience would also be possible. The result of such behavior would be the depletion of vital forces. After revealing the beautiful angel laws of his government, the Eternal entrusted him with a mission of great responsibility to be the protector of those laws and should honor them and reveals them to the universe about to be created. With hearts overflowing with love for Yahweh and similar fit, you would be a model of perfection, was Lucifer, the light bearer, the prince of angels, grateful for everything, prostrated himself before the loving king, promising him eternal fidelity. The Lord continued his work of creation, bringing into existence innumerable hosts of angels, the ministers of the kingdom of light. The holy city was populated by these creatures, radiant, happy, and grateful, united their voices in beautiful song of praise to the Creator. Yahweh now bring into existence the universe who, full of life, would be around his throne, signed his order, which thunder echoed by all parties, giving rise, as if by magic, countless galaxies, filled worlds and suns, havens of life and joy, all harmoniously turning around Mount Zion. When witnessing such a great achievement of the Supreme King, the angelic hosts fell down, echoing space illuminated by a song of triumph in salute to life. Whole universe joined this song of gratitude for the promise of eternal fidelity to the Creator. Guided by the Eternal, the angels came to know the riches of the universe. In this tour, Sidereal marveled before the vastness of the kingdom of light. By all parties met worlds inhabited by happy creatures who received them so precious as life, freedom of choice, through which the creatures could demonstrate their love for the Creator, demanded a test of loyalty. In order to reveal it, the Eternal led the hosts through the space illuminated by approaching an abyss of darkness that contrasted with the immense brightness of galaxies. By far, this gulf had proved insignificant in the eyes of angels as a blip without light, but the extent of their approach it was shown in its enormity. The Creator, who revealed to the angels every step of the mysteries of his kingdom, stood there silent, as if guarding a secret to himself. The darkness of that abyss consisted in testing the fidelity. Turning to the hosts, the Eternal solemnly said, "All the treasures of light will be open to your notice, unless the secrets hidden by darkness. You are free to serve me or not. Loving the light, you will be connected to the source of life. With these words did Yahweh separation between light and darkness, good and evil. The universe was free to choose his destiny.
Okay, so nice and quick little dig in there, and it's interesting because Genesis, if you read Genesis, the first part of it, there's so many gaps that are not satisfying to the reader, or to, at least for me, like the whole snake thing, the whole a lot of things, just a lot of things. And this book really fills in those gaps, and it talks about the pre-existence of man, which is not something that is really written down in black and white. A lot of it has been speculated on, and a lot of that speculation is actually correct. It lines up with this book, but this is like the hardcore, kind of the just like the title says, the history of the universe. And the fact that it was given from Melchizedek to Abraham is a quite significant also feature of this. And it's a Dead Sea Scroll. So, it's just, there's a lot of the wisdom of God in here. And it talks about how God feels, talks about his mind and how he thinks, and the reason for the fall, and why there's good and evil. Like atheists always want to talk about, well, why are there starving kids here and there or whatever? Well, it tells you the reason why there's actually evil in the world and why we're playing this all out. So I just think it's a wonderful find, and I hope God bless everyone with the knowledge and keeps giving us more knowledge in those caves or wherever to know him, because ultimately that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I got a question for you.
Sure.
It may be a pretty long type of analysis, but maybe you could chew on it, and also I don't mind if you provide whatever type of answer you like, but how do you think it relates to the ideas in the book of Hebrews?
I think
that's
it
probably
lines
the
up
popular
fine.
place, right? The popular mention that people would find, right?
Yeah, in terms of Melchizedek.
Right. The order of Melchizedek.
Right. It's fascinating. And I think it relates okay. I think I don't think there's any contradictions per se, because Melchizedek is a mysterious character in the Bible. First of all, he kind of just appears out of nowhere, and Abraham just kind of tithes him, and he's acting like the priest to God and whatnot. And so there's that kind of that intermediary between God and man, who is the Melchizedek creature. And it's also kind of shown here. And that's also kind of what is related in the book of Hebrews. And so also, I think once you get deeper into this book, it kind of basically says that Melchizedek and Jesus and Yahweh, they're all basically the same. But that's not the end of it. Like, there's other, we have the angel of the Lord, and we have some other things that represent God as himself, because you could say, yeah, we're all God, right? But God also has a representation of himself that could only be a certain cloth of like holiness and righteousness that only he could as himself represent with an agent. Okay. So I think it kind of correlates and lines up just fine with the book and with the knowledge that is in this as well. Hopefully that answers the question.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, thank you for that answer.
No problem.
And yeah, I think Melchizedek relates to the idea of Hizr in the Quran. You know what I mean? I think there's like significant insights there.
Which one in the Quran?
Hither in the story of the cave. Surah Al-Kahf. there's a man that Moses meets.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh shoot, what is this? Yeah. There's Dilkar 9, and there's what you said, but I can't. Hold on a second. I'm gonna look that up. Hold on a second.
Yeah, KHIDR, hither. Right. So yeah.
Yeah. It very well could be. Very well could be. You know. What is it? The certain knowledge that he had that Moses was impatient for. Right. That's the character we're talking about.
Oh yes.
When you say hither or whatever, I'm thinking of a different like pronunciation of it, so I'm just gonna look up what it is that I know him by, because it's something else, and I just want to see how close it is in my version. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, well, you summoned this gentleman here, so
That's right. That's right. The summon chicken sauce.
What's so you're getting the heat yesterday in chat over at Tacos, huh?
Well, I mean, you can't expect much from the NASA lovers.
Yeah, it's pretty sad. They're basically going through a mass copium psychosis at this point. Like, you know, there's only so much denial that can be called denial at a certain point. It's just cope now. Like it's moved beyond. Oh, let's see here.
yeah, that direction doesn't tend to move in that many I mean, that conversation doesn't tend to move in that many directions. You know, if you it's
Yeah,
almost like
definitely.
watching the same episode over and over.
Yeah,
Well,
definitely.
I've often noticed they use the exact same tactics that they do for believers in God. Well, you can't show proof. I'm like, well, neither can you. Well, I got NASA. Well, I got a book. It's the same Ouroboros. It's just a back and forth, back and forth. You got no proof. I got all the proof. I got all the proof. You got no proof. I got, it's a back and forth.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a proof
definitely.
salad.
Let's see here. So, what did you think of that first chapter of the Book of Melchizedek there, Chickensaurus?
I ain't gonna lie, I didn't catch most of it.
Yeah, that's all right. So earlier you were talking with Avian Buddha, and talking about, some of the things that kind of perturb you about not knowing why God did this or why God did that. And when you were saying that, I was just thinking about this book, and maybe if you wanted to kind of go over it in commentary and review it and stuff like that. So we could go to the next chapter, which kind of goes into like a lot of those questions, if we have time or whatever.
I mean, I'm here, so.
All right, let's do it.
Chapter 2. The long-cherished dream of the Creator becomes reality. Now, as a loving Father, creatures led by an eternity of peace and harmony. Because compliance with the laws of God, the universe was expanding into happiness and glory. There was a strong bond of love, which all strongly united. Rational beings, endowed with the capacity of an infinite development, found unspeakable pleasure in learning the inexhaustible treasures of divine wisdom and transmits them to like, whereas channels through which the source of eternal life harbored all love and light. In Jerusalem, the ministers of the kingdom gathered before the sovereign king, always ready to fulfill his purposes. Lucifer was, through the eternal, made manifest his designs. After receiving a new revelation, he promptly conveyed to the angelic hosts. These, in turn, shared with creation. In swift flying angels were heading for the planet's capital, where, in large assemblies, gathered representatives of other worlds. In many of these assemblies, Lucifer, it was present, filling the participants of joy and admiration. Perfect in all virtues, he captivated with his sympathy. No other angel could reveal him as the mysteries of the eternal love. The universe, feeding the fountain of life, was expanding an eternity of perfect peace. Obedience to divine law was the foundation of all progress and happiness. While mindful of free will, never climbed to the heart of any creature's desire to move away from the Creator. So it was for a long time until this problem erupted in the life of the one who was the closest of the eternal. Lucifer, who devoted his life to understanding the mysteries of light, he was gradually drawn to the darkness. The king of the universe, in whose eyes nothing can be hidden, sadly followed in his footsteps, descending the path that leads to death. At first, a little curiosity led Lucifer to approach that deep abyss. Contemplating it, he began to wonder why I cannot understand your conundrum. Returning to his place of honor beside the throne, bowed himself.
I'm sorry, they got a giggle. I like how they say conundrum.
Indeed. Any thoughts?
I mean, in a way, it's kind of scary because, I mean, I've heard bits and pieces of this, but, I mean, in a lot of ways, I feel this primordially in myself, so... You know, I think that speaks to how personal of a being both Satan and God can both be. You know, I think that's what a lot of people don't realize. You know, when God sits here and says that, you know, the devil seeks who he may devour, a lot of people don't realize, like, you know, he's as close to you as what God is. But I mean, of course, God is closer. But, you know, that's one of the reasons why I call myself inner darkness there for the longest time, because I mean, in reality, you can't sit here as a human being and just say that you're full of light and not accept your darkness. So I mean, in a lot of ways, I don't want to say that Lucifer was a necessary evil, but in a lot of ways, I think Lucifer himself is too scared to admit that he's a lot more human than most humans nowadays. So I mean, I would say if this is anywhere close to what Lucifer really felt, I mean, isn't that not how we all a little bit feel sometimes? I mean, when our parents constantly discipline us when we're kids, don't we constantly lash out and disobey, even though our parents may have complete and total legit good reasons for disciplining us, even if it's with a strong hand sometimes? I mean, it's usually in the best interest of the child. So, I mean, Lucifer is as much of a child of God as what we are. So, you know, I don't know. Can't continue.
Good stuff, man.
Your conundrum.
I didn't mean to do that.
Returning to his place of honor beside the throne.
So I find it interesting that, you know, basically he's the bearer of light. He's the one who's kind of like a christener, or how do you say, like, he legitimizes these quote unquote other worlds and their assemblies, right, by being there and by kind of like enforcing the law of God, which at this point, you know, it said is to love God and to love thy neighbor, essentially, right? So
Right.
that's one way we know that, like, this all kind of lines up with the biblical narrative. But then I guess after a long time, it says, you know, he was the bearer of light, you know, he's doing all this stuff, he's the representative of the king, blah blah blah. And, you know, I guess maybe he knew and found out all the mysteries of light, and like maybe there was just nothing else to learn. So the curiosity. So we hear the term the curiosity of the cat, right? You know, kills the cat or whatever.
Yeah.
And so literally the curiosity of the darkness is what hooked him in, and, you know, from there the evil was able to get into his mind, and then we'll see what happens.
Bowed himself to the divine king, beseeching him, Father, give me to know the secrets of darkness, like me reveals the light. Before the request of beautiful angel, the eternal expressive voice with sadness said, My son, you were raised to the light, that is life. Convinced that the Creator does not reveal the treasures of darkness, Lucifer decided to understand the puzzle by yourself. He thought himself able to do so. With this sad decision, the Prince of Angels allowed to arise in your heart a stain of sin that could bring a catastrophe to the universe. Only Yahweh knew what was in the heart of Lucifer. The angel who was created to be the bearer of light was divorced in thoughts of the beneficent Creator, who, in an effort to prevent the disaster, besought him to stay with him. A tremendous fight began to catch up in his heart. The desire to know the meaning of darkness was immense, however, pleading that loving Father, who also did not want to lose the tortured. Seeing the suffering caused his attitude to the Creator, sometimes showed repentance, but returned to fall.
Real quick, it's interesting to me that he calls him, my son, talking about Lucifer. Of course, when we see him after the fall, he's called Satan, and he kind of, says he divorces him, I guess you could say. But the fact that, he calls him son just goes back to what you were saying there, Mr. Inner Darkness, Dark Scribe. And, the curiosity was enough to kind of hook him in, but then also the thirst for knowledge. And I think that's also kind of a human thing, the exploration of man and the exploration of seeking knowledge is just something that is probably going to be an eternal thing within us. Any thoughts?
I would agree. Well, I mean, one of the biggest things that they're pushing in a lot of, I mean, whether you want to call it satanic propaganda, but there's like the Sandman TV show that recently came out. They got Lucifer as a female in that show, which that doesn't really bother me. But, by the time you really sit down and watch that series beyond the TV slop that it is and actually look at it primordially, which I love using that word, it really does tell you that Lucifer really isn't this like ultimate evil creature who just like hates you and just wanted to see you suffer. Like he generally was his own being who just wanted to experience reality for himself without the constraints of being told what to do, which in reality is what each human really wants to do. In a sense, that's why I keep using the word primordially, because I think it's like it's just in our, if you want to use DNA, I guess it's human nature, as people would say. It's human nature to want to reach into the unknown. It's human nature to want to explore things that like they say, the fear of the unknown or whatever, I'll put it this way. If Lucifer, like I've done before, I have called Lucifer out before, like as if he was a real person, like when I talk to Jesus or when I talk to God. I have sat here before and I've, looked him in the eye, so to speak, and have said, I don't hate you. In fact, I actually feel pity for you. I actually understand you, because I can't imagine how hard it would be to be an angel. Look how hard it is to be a human. I can't imagine what it would be like to not only be one of the most beautiful of angels, but to be considered basically the top dog in heaven, other than the quote unquote Trinity. And you're just forced to bend a knee down to your creator simply because he's your creator. And then your creator turns around and creates something like mankind and then sits here and tells you, as one of the very first created beings, that you have to now bow down and worship something made out of dirt. So, I do believe that the devil is as much as a person, not necessarily, with a soul like us, but I mean, obviously these entities are as much of a person as what we are. And I mean, can you really blame the dude? Can you really hate the guy? I mean, if any of us were put in Lucifer's position, would we really not feel the same way? Would you not want to have the ability to have your own free will to be able to make and forge your own path in existence? Well, I mean, in reality, I think what a lot of people are going to hate to hear is that God doesn't hate Satan. In fact, he loves him very much. And he still has given Lucifer many different times to change course. It's Lucifer who continues to stay on the course of not just human destruction, but his own destruction. So, I mean, did God love Lucifer enough to say that here's your own free will to go and do as you please, even though it's going to affect my entire creation? I mean, I guess that's when if you really truly understand God's love, then you would understand that not even the devil himself is hated by God, because God hates no one, right? Only thing he hates is the sin that we commit. So, God hates the sin, not the sinner. I mean, it's very personal.
I think part of that conundrum is answered later on in here about about what you said, having the free will to affect the whole rest of creation, and why God allowed that. So, anything from you, TML?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm just chewing on some bread there. But yeah, but the whole idea about Lucifer and knowledge is pretty interesting. Now I don't know if Rudolf Steiner read any of this, but he talks about this in his book on Ahriman, right? The Ahrimanic deception and the whole thing. He talks about the difference between Lucifer and Satan and all these different ideas. So I mean,
Well, I can agree with it's sad that a lot of Christians don't know the difference between the devil and Antichrist. So yeah, it's pretty shocking when you go and you take a census among Christians and you go, what's the difference between Satan, Lucifer, little horn, and then go and ask, what's the Antichrist? A lot of people don't realize that, the Antichrist, while given the power of the devil, is a completely and separate entity all in itself. So
yeah, that's when I've heard that, where there's an Antichrist that persists throughout time, there's also like a Melchizedek type of figure that persists throughout time.
yes,
right? That's a opposition of the Antichrist. Right?
Yep. There's always the opposite side of the coin. And and I guess that's kind of where Star Wars plays into the whole thing, or the whole idea of having to keep the balance, like they push in Constantine. You always got to keep that balance. If there's too much to one side, the balance is always out of whack. If you want to believe that there's half demons and half angels walking among you, but
Interesting. I just
Continue.
thought of a couple things. Like Star Wars. You start out at the movie Star Wars, and then Empire Strikes Back, and then Return of the Jedi, and then it goes like pre Luke, right? Back to like the beginning or whatever, and that's kind of like what the Bible here is doing, and then this scroll, right? So it's kind of like it's kind of like that kind of a drama that's unfolding right before us, via the creator of all things.
You mean like a space opera?
Like a space odyssey or something, But as far as the Christians go, and the lack of knowledge and differentiation and nuance of the religion itself, I guess we have to blame first, I guess, the education system at a certain level, at a certain standpoint. Like it sucks at this point in the United States, in my opinion. Like it's nothing but an echo chamber in and itself, and it's failing pretty bad. But also the church itself is basically become a place of a social gathering and a social emotional experience instead of a spiritual and a knowledge experience. And that is that's evident when you talk to just a parrot repeating, pew writing, indoctrinated Christian, unfortunately.
And shekel collection.
Yeah, that too.
But that's one of the reasons why, like, my religion upbringing, like, I was forced to sit and listen to them fat white old KFC looking Baptist type preachers. But in reality, a lot of my knowledge from the Bible came from sitting down and reading it myself, in my darkest hours, in my deepest nights of pain and despair, and actually wanting to come to true understandings. I can tell you, man, a lot of the revelations that came to me was simply it was like the psyoping goop that was poured on my brain for my entire existence, just slowly eroded. Every time I'd go to the Bible and I'd be like, okay, what is it that I'm not understanding? And that's the biggest problem that people don't understand about the Bible, is you don't have to understand everything in the Bible. Okay, so for you Christians out there and you preachers who's here and say that if you can't read the Bible back and forward to back, up and down, left and right, and you're going to burn in hell for it, y'all are some of the worst people out there. Because I'm telling you, dude, I know some people who are very illiterate who don't read that well, and they are some of the best Christians I've ever met in my life. So, you know, the word of God is definitely written on people's hearts, and you know, for me, I guess it was a religious experience, but I think, you know, it's multiple factors that really keep people coming from the truth. There's a difference between someone like me and someone like who, you know, gets paid to get on YouTube and claim that they believe in Jesus and get in constant debates for hours on end claiming that they're defending Jesus Christ, but then turn around and say the wood is dead. So continue.
They say the word is dead. Is that what you said?
Oh, well, that too. I said the wood is dead.
The wood is dead. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I would agree with you that there's.
I say that he said that because, you know, Jesus Christ was a carpenter, so hilarious that he would reference wood.
Right. Yeah. Kind of a bad analogy in my opinion, but anyway, I would definitely agree with you that you know, you don't have to know this thing inside out, back and forth, up and down to be saved. You know, that's not what I'm saying or anything. I'm just saying that, you know, the church is a pep talk. It's like a prep rally, you know, preacher kind of a.
No, it definitely is. Just about every single church, every single church I've ever went to is full of nothing but hypocrites or homosexuals or people who, to be honest, you know, like Kenneth Copeland said, getting in a tube with a bunch of demons. Yeah, I mean, I would say there's maybe 2 churches in my life where I've actually seen real, genuine people go inside to actually worship Jesus and not pass around a collection plate. So, you know, but that's the biggest problem is are you going to find, you know, people all my life told me you should become a preacher, but in reality, dude, people like me, you don't become bishops, you don't become exorcists like that. Like, if you're genuinely usually in it, I mean, I guess it's a spiritual delusion. That's the only way I know how to describe it. I think most people are so so materialistically in tune into the world that, you know, it's like they say about the dark magic stuff. The more that you believe in it, or like ghosts, the more that you believe in it, the more you'll experience it. So, you know, I think the more that people deny that there is anything spiritual about their existence, the more that even if there is someone like a Christian, you know, a lukewarm Christian. I mean, I guess you can call me lukewarm, but, you know, there are many people in churches and stuff who abuse their positions. So, I mean, does God allow a devil to enter a pasture to, you know, use the church? So,
yeah.
I mean,
there's kind of a lot there.
Humans will be humans, right? So is it human nature or is it the devil?
Yeah. And I can't imagine what it's like to be in church leadership, you know, either as a tent, you know, traveling preacher versus a pastor of a parish, you know, and having those responsibilities. I'm sure it's a lot, you know, but the thing is the social construct that the church has become now, it's about, making sure that the people are there, that's full, it's entertaining, and it gives them a prep talk, and they have a nice, thing to think about for getting ready for the next week of work, where they're grinding for the money and the rat race. And, we do it all again next week, and you have your social cohesion there and everything, which is a kind of, that's a good thing. But what we have is a lot of people because humans are human, they're getting kind of rejected from the social cohesion of that church per se. And then they blame God for it when it's actually, they were, just amongst a bunch of, rude men or whatever. So
a den of vipers. Yeah.
Going on there.
Is that why in a lot of movies, when the rapture happens, you have all the people in the church say, "Why didn't he take me? I was good. I put $20 in the collection plate." Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's the biggest problem, dude. And unfortunately, I mean, I guess you can say it's because, I mean, the churches have become institutionalized. I mean, I mean, you can say it's the devil or whatever, but I mean, the biggest thing about churches is usually the money. I mean, and these churches around here where there's a metropolitan near me, and they have a gay pastor with a husband, and I was kicked out of their church because I stood up and I was like, can you please explain to me how you're going to sit here and claim to believe and preach about the very book that says that what you're doing with your husband right now in front of us is okay? And I mean, I think unfortunately now that the churches are like that, it's just going to get worse. Pretty soon, your local Baptist church will be having, invite invite your local Satanist over for brunch. So,
Dang. Like Antoine LaVey's stuffed doll.
well, I mean, I'm one of them people who believe in, what they put on the church signs, come as you are. God wants prostitutes and murderers and everyone to come to Christ. That I'm one of them kind of Christians, but I mean,
Leadership is a different thing.
The leadership is the biggest role. If the head of the church is corrupted, then a majority, if not all, of the church is going to be corrupted, even if they themselves are not corrupt people. I mean, you're just going to follow the crowd, unfortunately. I mean, I can't tell you how many churches I was in at Pentecostal churches, seeing people jump up and down, run up and down the halls, and they were all looking outside of the corner of their eyes to see if anyone was looking at them. So, I think in all honesty, a majority of humans really can't maybe cope, but don't realize that God's eyes, the man is always watching you. So he knows that when you're praising him because you truly want a connection with him, he knows that when you're praising him because you want your church goes to see who's doing the loudest hooping and hollering, or like people who pretend to speak in tongues. I'm going to tell you, it annoys me, and I want to call people out of it. And I'm not going to sit here and say that people can't speak tongues and speak some, ancient language that's dead to most people nowadays. But I can't tell you how many times I heard the exact same sounds come out of people's mouth that I hear in Hollywood movies of demons talking. So, again, it comes down to, if you look, I'm going to tell you right now, except for my Jesus Christ experience at 9 years old, I have not had a actual religious experience other than seeing that pair of eyeballs a few years ago, not long after my mom had died. And I was standing outside and I saw a pair of glowing eyes standing out in the woods, and I can tell you that I didn't hear nothing standing there. I would have heard the leaves moving from where it was standing. It would have had to have been taller than a fucking deer, and I can tell you it won't a bear, because no bears in my mountains are. I can tell you, I've lived here for a long time, never seen a fucking bear, never even seen a mountain lion. So whatever it was standing there. It didn't move whatsoever. And I was too terrified to move. I mean, people have seen the video that I've done where I had recorded it. So I mean,
What about maybe a drone?
No, it was definitely a creature, dude. That thing was standing there, and it had two greenish, yellowish, piercing eyes, as if it were a cat standing up on hind legs as tall as what I was, if not taller. So whatever it was, it definitely wasn't a normal creature, because there was absolutely no light in the backyard that should have been piercing its eyes for it to glow.
Yeah.
So again, I mean, for someone like me, I can just sit here and say, well, I've had an experience, so my faith is always going to be cemented that there is more to my reality than what anyone can ever explain to me. But I mean, you can't go to, I'm telling you, I've tried to do that with religious people who claim to believe in the exact same Jesus Christ as me, the same man who bled and died for my sins, who I have sat here and have cried and cried and cried, thinking that someone loved me enough that they would be whipped, spit on, probably had defecation thrown at them, food, pierced, and bled for my transgressions, even though people say, well, he shouldn't have done it in the first place, compared to someone who sits there and actually LARPs and claims that, goes into a church and has the complete control of a church, and then uses that to abuse people, sexually abuse people, steal their money out of their pockets. I mean, I can't tell you how many churches I go to, and the preacher is driving, a brand new fucking, $90,000 car, while all of his, churchgoers are riding in vehicles that look like they barely got, you know, duct tape holding their bumper on. So I mean, you know,
Yeah.
it's just, I think is it human nature, human nature to just be, what's the word I'm looking for? Manipulative. I mean,
Status seeking, perhaps.
definitely status seeking. I mean, I can't tell you how many preachers I see who wear, you know, very nice suits that, you know, a preacher, you know, someone like me, I would much rather show up in a sackcloth than, you know, show up in a suit that looks so uncomfortable that, you know, I have to adjust it 15 times before I've even started my lecture. So, you know, it's all about the appearance, and it's all about making the outside look nice and neat while the, you know, corpse
Mm-hmm.
robs like a mummy underneath. You know, you've heard that song by
Yeah.
that dude or
Now you're
whatever. So
preaching, brother.
there you go. Now I'm preaching. But it's a hard thing, man. You know, it's hard to get people to realize that, yes, you may be flesh and bone, but I mean, you got to be more than that. Look at your hands, you know, look at the complexity of your reality, and sit here and just think that, you know, this is all for random. And once you discard everything and just accept that you are what you are, I mean, that's the problem. They've gotten people in such a stalemate of believing in nothing that, you know, we're so distracted with everything that you can't even care about your own spiritualness. Who can sit here
No.
nowadays, really sit here and actually care whether or not their soul is going to end up in hell, when a majority of people is every single day their life revolves around, if they got children, got to take care of the children. If they don't have children, if they have a job, they have to work all day, every single day, just to put food on the table, just to keep a light on. You know, make sure the doctor bill's paid, make sure you can get your medications, make sure you can take your animal to the vet. I mean, you got 100 million subscriptions to pay, you know, your Netflix and chill. I mean, you're so distracted in this world that by the time you get to spiritualism, you probably don't care. And for someone like me who got to spiritualism at a very young age, not only did it terrify me, but I mean, it woke me up to a whole realm of things. And look, I don't get personal connection with God every day. I can't tell you how many times I go with a God with a middle finger and be like, dude, I really sometimes want to tell you to F off and leave me alone. But either A, it's because of what I've experienced, or B, I'm indoctrinated with Christianity now compared to being indoctrinated with NASAism. And, you know, am I right or wrong? I don't know. But, you know, I'm not a perfect human being. I do my best to strive to be like Christ every single day, even though I know I'll never be like Christ. I sin, you know, I lust after the flesh. I'm a liar. I'm a, you know, thief. I've probably committed every single sin. So, I mean, you know, I'm no better than the next person. It's just, you know, there's not many spots for people like me. I think really in general weren't meant for this plane of existence. People like me, I don't want to cause harm to other people. You know, I only deal with human beings because I'm forced to live on the planet with them. But I mean, you know, I guess that's one of the reasons why the Bible says that the meek will inherit the earth. So I guess save me a spot somewhere in the Bahamas. No, it's okay.
Yeah. So you've never spoken tongues or anything, have you?
No, sir. That's why I don't genuinely believe in people who claim they do, because when you go and ask them if they've had any religious experience, they've had nothing even close to a ghost encounter. So, you know, it's just, I'm a skeptic in a lot of things. You know, as someone who didn't believe in ghosts, I can tell you, after seeing a UFO and witnessing, you know, attempted demonic possession, after I got older and remembered what happened to me and was able to sit down and analyze and actually go, what the fuck happened to me? I realized, you know, there's no going back from that thought process. And unfortunately, people like that usually doesn't function very well in society, because you're just navigating, if they're not real demons, you're just navigating against a bunch of fake demons. So
that don't realize that they are.
They don't realize they are. And I don't mean demons in the sense that, like, you know, you want to tear off my flesh and wear it like a Ed Gein suit.
Right.
But I mean, you know, in the
They'll
sense
stab you in the
that,
back in a second.
yeah, if it means that they get to open up the last can of air and breathe it before they suck it out. So, you know, it's just, I don't know, man.
I hear you, man.
It's a lot of people who have to come to their own conclusions and their own their own merits and come to the fact that, do you really want to sit here and believe that you have a purpose, no matter whether you get cancer one day and you die at the age of 30, or you'll get to live to be 120 years old, like the Lord says, I'll no longer let my spirit be man with. Good luck living past that. But I don't know, man. Life is a very complex thing.
Definitely. So, going back to what your experience was and everything, my vision from God, it only happened one time. And I think that he does that on purpose, because if it was something that was like reoccurring over and over, like that would be by the non-believers, they would just call that schizophrenia and dismiss your testimony outright anyway. Not that
Agreed.
they don't anyway, right? But they would actually have a cause to do that as some sort of mental impairment or mental illness or some chemical thing, this or that or whatever. But the fact that he only gave us, say, one vision from him or one experience from him is pretty, what I find pretty typical amongst born again Christians.
I'll put it this way. I've had two experiences while being aware, while being alive and awake, knowing that I'm 100% conscious in the living world, not in Inception. I ain't no fucking Leonardo DiCaprio going into 3 states of sleep. But I can tell you, for at least 15 years, I had very world-ending prophetic dreams of like satanic imagery, statues of Baphomet, things that if I really sat down and I put some of the things I've seen in my videos, like the gold skeletons and stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff that it's been shown in my dreams that the only way people say it's years and years of soaking up indoctrination, but I can tell you some of the stuff I've seen in my dreams, the only thing it tells me is it's got to be a warning. So I will agree that yes, if one experience, two experiences, I don't consider the alien experience or the UFO experience really a religious experience. I think that God was just putting in my face, really, like with the demonic possession, he was just putting in my face something that I was constantly questioning over and over again. And because in effect, I had a witness right there beside me who saw the exact same thing I did at the exact same time, then all it did was just confirm, when it happens, don't you have no excuses here and say, well, they duped me, so yeah, I think overexposure to religious phenomena or whatever, stigmata, if you want to call it, it dilutes your authenticity. Like you said, they're going to call you cuckoo anyway, but these are people who believe that they, what's funny is, of course you came from primordial goop. It's called your daddy's jizz. But anyway, keep telling yourself you came from a pool of hot lava balls.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yep. I know this has been like we've been going back and forth for a while in between the reading here, but you mentioned the church being institutionalized, and that is so true, because like you can go to, say, like the head pastor's computer, and usually what they are is they're logged into this network of churches of their particular sect or their particular brand of Christianity, whether it be Baptist or Unitarian or any of them. They're all they all hook into this network, and they all kind of have narratives, and they all kind of have downloads of what is kind of a top down, right? Kind of a top down institutionalized hierarchy that's going on, and that's probably not of course this is all God's plan, but like individual churches with their own individual parish and their own message, and like grassroots community, knowing this whole social cohesion and stuff like that. That is a time of the past, where it was probably a lot more intimate, and the knowledge and the learning was a lot more in depth. And now we get a lot of this, kind of icing on the cake type of Christianity, and the superficial, like who looks good, who's running up and down the hall, who's talking in fake tongues, So, and I just want to say, like, I've had that experience with my vision with God, and I've never spoken involuntarily in tongues, but I know that I know that I'm saved, and I know that I have seen, the Spirit, or have felt the Spirit and seen God. So just want to say that too. So also God says that unless there's an interpreter around, speaking in tongues is basically useless. So if you happen to speak in tongues and you don't interpret yourself, or there's someone there to interpret your tongues, like it's a show, and it's a show. It's a dog and pony show. It means nothing. Anyway, you got anything, TML? Otherwise, we should.
Yeah, I definitely remember that from Corinthians. We were talking about speaking in tongues, and how it could be misconstrued. I think it's 1 Corinthians 4 or something like that.
That also plays into the whole, it's better to pray in the privacy of your closet than to be seen in a congregation. And, that's where, me and Unseen bump heads. I'm not saying don't work for God's church here on earth and to aspire to build an actual God's church, to want to root out the evil, vile, cruel, disgusting den of vipers that we know that, like the Vatican is. But, I can tell you that Jesus Christ can be found anywhere, even in a jail cell, even when it's time to lay your head on that guillotine, which is why it says that, up until the hour of the beheading of Christians for their belief in Jesus Christ, that you won't probably even be able to speak, because the Holy Spirit is going to hold your tongue. And whatever message that you deliver to the people and the demons who are about to end your existence for your belief in Christ, basically whatever the Holy Ghost is going to utter from your mouth is going to tremble them in their little space boot. So, that's the biggest problem. Everyone wants to be seen. Even someone like me, look, I like when I get appreciation. I like when I get a little, pat on the back. Oh, you did a good LARP. Oh, you did a good job. But in reality, dude, that's not my biggest message. I really do care about people on a primordial level, even people who hate me, who make fun of me and call me names. I've had horrible things done to me by lots of people, and I have never gone out of my way to seek revenge. That's the kind of person I am. I don't like when I have to squash a bug, even when the fucking wildlife preserve people tell me that I need to do it because it's going to cause the trees to die. But, again, it's how do you live by God's standards? That's the only way. We can't. So, that's why he gave you a guidebook on how to act.
Lives, but even just to try and stay clear of everyone who wants to hurt you or take advantage of you now, like, this is definitely the devil's realm at this point. I don't think there's any denying that. Music break.
Technically, dude, it's always been his place. He told Jesus, these are, let me give you all these kingdoms. So, it's always been his place, I guess, ever since God sent him here, if that's the true LARP.
Well, that's true, but I'm saying that the unbelievers and their ill intentions are really spilling over onto people who are the righteous people who want to just not harm anyone else, that kind of thing. Like, they're flexing and they're not afraid to show it. That seems to be like what I'm experiencing anyway.
Well, dude, I guess that comes down to then, since we're Christians, are you the kind of Christian when the New World Order demon Gestapo men come rounding up everyone to take the mark of the beast, are you going to be one of them Christians who folds and takes the mark of the beast because it's convenient, because you don't want to lose your life? Or will you actually hold to the crown of life that Jesus Christ has promised you and willing to lay down your life like he did for you? And unfortunately, it just seems like even with most Christians, that promise, that true primordial promise of love isn't good enough for them, and they will fold and falter. Where someone like me, when that time comes, I'll gladly do it. This world has never really been nice to me. I got 2 nice things out of my existence. That's my wife and son. And maybe a few good friends along the way. But in reality, there's nothing about existence. While, drinking and eating is great and all, sex is great and all, being able to see, touch, taste, and feel, but, at a second's whim, you can lose some senses. So, You know, you have to want to aspire to be more, which, I mean, I guess that's also kind of what the devil did. So, I mean, maybe there really is a devil in all of us. I mean, maybe that's really the true purpose. If everything was created by God and God is in everything, then that means the devil was in us too, because he was created by the God. So, I mean, there you go. I guess that's why he says you can't serve two masters. You got to pick and choose. You can't serve one or the other. You can't hold to one and love the other. You can't hate one and love the other. So you got to pick and choose.
Yeah, I would definitely take the chop over the chip in terms of, you know, the Gestapo Antichrist being, you know, convenience versus, you know, death, because I'm ready right now. I want Jesus right now, but, you know, it's all in his timing. I've got a problem though. My audio is about to die, so I need to switch headphones. And so I think what I'll do is I'll mute and switch headphones and just let the book play real quick. Okay?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, man.
Before creating the universe, Yahweh had already foreseen the possibility of a rebellion. The risk of granting freedom to creatures was immense, but without this gift, life would be meaningless. The Lord did not want programmed to do only his will. He wanted obedience with a result of recognition and love. So I decided to take the big risk. Yet to continue the search of the meaning of darkness,
real quick, I think that's solidifies the free will statement that I was saying earlier. You know, without literally, what would God do with an NPC testimony? Like, it would be, you know, it would be fake. It would be a fake reality. It would be a fake anything, right? So the free will is important. So I just wanted to say that real quick. And my headphones are fixed, so here we go.
Lucifer did not intend to leave the light, strove to achieve a combination of these parts in the realm of eternal coexisted separately. Finally, with a feeling of elation, devised a deceptive theory that aimed to present the universe as a new system of government than the rule of the eternal, called his theory the knowledge of good and evil.
Okay, real quick. So he has the knowledge of all light and the mysteries of light, and now he's dabbling in the darkness, and you know, he's kind of gets sucked in with the curiosity of the cat, right? And he comes back with this theory of good and evil, and as an alternate plan to the governance of the universe, instead of everything being all good all the time, you know, hey, how about let's try this, and I find that that's probably one of the answers to your questions that you were talking about, avian Buddha earlier. Like, you know, you would question why God would do this or allow this or how or why. Well, right there should be one of your answers. Any thoughts?
Yeah, so you're applying this to the story of Noah?
No, I'm applying it to Dark Scribe and some of his questions to God about, like, you know, why certain things happen, or with, you know, the purpose of evil, stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, I thought you were talking about the discussion we were having about Noah and God, like, and how he talks about the creatures, and then he makes a covenant. First, he mourns the death of all the creatures because of the evils of man, right? And then he says that he's making a covenant with man between him and all the creatures of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So,
all right, here we go. I probably cut that off a little too soon, so.
Structured logic, the science of good and evil, has proved attractive to Lucifer, like unveiling a sense of life superior to that offered by the Creator, whose kingdom enabled only experimental knowledge of good. In the new system, there would be a balance between good and evil, between love and selfishness, between light and darkness. Throughout the time that had matured in his mind the knowledge of good and evil, Lucifer knew to keep secret from the universe, remained at his post of honor, fulfilling the function of the light bearer, however. For much he tried to pretend his face no longer showed joy in serving the Eternal. The divine king, who suffered in silence, looking through his revelations of love, rational creatures prepare for the big event approaching, knew that many would hearken to temptation, turning him back. The night of the ordeal would stand, however, the true believers, those who served the Creator not by interest, but by love. Seeing that the test time had come and that Lucifer was ready to betray him before the universe, the Eternal, who never ceased to reveal the treasures of his wisdom, became quiet and contemplative. The silence did revive the heart of the hosts of the memory of that first outing outer when, after showing them the riches of the kingdom of light, Yahweh became silent before the abyss. Remember his words, "All the treasures of light will be open to your notice, unless the secrets hidden by darkness. You are free to serve me or not. Loving the light, you will be connected to the source of life." Lucifer, who had come to covet the throne of Yahweh, asked him why his silence. The Creator, staring at him with infinite sadness, said, "The hour of darkness. You are free to achieve their purposes." Seeing that the moment for the propagation of his theory had arrived, summoned angels Lucifer for a special meeting. The hosts, eager to know the meaning of the silence of the Father, took their places along the magnificent angel who always had revealed the treasures of the kingdom of light. Lucifer began his speech extolling as usual the government of the Eternal. In a large retrospective, reminded them of the great revelations that enriched in whole eternity. The silent celestial presented it as an indication that the universe reached the fullness of knowledge from light. Silencing the Eternal, then, opened the way for the understanding of mysteries not yet probed, hitherto kept beyond the limits of his government. Surprises, the hosts took the experience of Lucifer knowledge over darkness. With eloquence, he spoke to them the knowledge of good and evil, showing how the path of the greatest achievements. The effect of his words soon made itself felt throughout the universe. The question was decisive and explosive, generating first contention. Rational beings, in their evidence, they had to choose to stay only with the knowledge of light, which claimed to be Lucifer, reached its limits, or venture into the knowledge of good and evil. Earlier, the angels have struggled on the matter, and soon after, the entire universe challenged. Dire would be the knowledge of good and evil would garner most of the creatures. But gradually, many who initially became excited with theory awakened to the illusion of it, reaffirming their allegiance to the kingdom of light. At the end of that conflict, which dragged on for a long time, proved to be a third of the stars from the sky next to Lucifer, and the remaining still shaken by evidence that beside the Eternal. The knowledge of good and evil was trumpeted by Lucifer as a new system of government. But how to exercise it if the Eternal, still reigning in Zion, needed to find a way to push him away? The council, formed by the rebellious angels, passed on it, decided to finally ask him the throne for a certain time, which could demonstrate the excellence of the new system of government. If the universe were approved, the new system would be established forever, otherwise return the domain to the Creator. So it was that Lucifer, accompanied by his hosts, approached arrogant of his suffering father, asking him such a request. The Eternal was not ambitious, just wanted good to his creatures. If the knowledge of good and evil actually consisted in a greater good, if not oppose its implementation, giving the throne to his defenders.
Okay, real quick. So we see what's happened here is he's gotten the the knowledge of good and evil by parading around in the darkness for a while, a good while apparently, probably eternity's worth of time while this was going on, before mankind was even a thing. And so this theory of good and evil is presented as a kind of like the Star Wars reference, as a governance of the universe, as a way to implement, like, your state laws or whatever, your the governance of the way that people, like, generally behave or whatnot. So he submits to God basically this plan of good and evil as a new form of government within the universe, and thinks that, yeah, we could try it out. You could put it on, and then if it doesn't work out or whatever, we could take it back. And so ask God that, and that's what is going to spark the whole initiation of good and evil into our universe, essentially. So everything that we're experiencing in terms of evil and whatnot is all based on this butterfly effect, right? Of Lucifer's theory of good and evil. Any thoughts? All right, we'll continue.
But he knew that path would lead to unhappiness and death.
Yeah, I think our
Moved
friend
by
stepped
his
away there.
protective love, the
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm just saying I think our friend stepped away there, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, you summoned him. You got a good
Yeah, that was good.
you know, taste
hopefully
of
he's
his
listening.
views. Yeah.
Oh,
I think
I'm
he is.
here.
Yeah, he's out here. Yeah, but yeah, DK Spiracy's out here too.
Oh yeah, is he coming in?
Yeah.
This chapter's almost over, so, but you know, a lot of times, you know, the question why always comes up. Why are there starving kids? Why is, you know, cancer? All this, you know, this and that. Well, the thing is, once it was submitted to God as an alternative, and Lucifer was able to kind of propagandize this alternative, you know, it almost kind of forced God to allow it. And the reason, you know, is coming up, but basically, you know, if he wouldn't have allowed it as an alternative, he would have been called a tyrant, and he wouldn't be considered just, as, you know, he wouldn't be a just God, right?
Yes.
So I think it's very interesting, and I think it's very important, and it might even bring, you know, peace to some people, you know, in their mind. I know this book has brought a lot of like the gaps of knowledge. It brought me to the awareness of what the heck actually happened and why are things this way, and, you know, not trying to fish around for answers to try and answer the question as to why I believe in God and Jesus Christ.
I can roll with that.
All right, here we go.
The Creator denied the request of the host's rebels, which turned away angry. They are denied the throne, Lucifer and his hosts, to accuse the divine king, claiming to be your government tyranny, claimed to be his stay on the throne, the clearest demonstration of his arbitrariness. They had granted them freedom of choice. For now, we neutralize it, preventing them from putting in place a system of government more. The charges of the host's rebels reverberated throughout the universe, making it appear that the government of the Eternal was unfair. This brought deep distress to those who remained faithful to the kingdom of light. Not knowing how to refute such accusations, these creatures, muted by the moral pain, longed for the time when new revelations coming from the Creator could clarify to them the mysteries of this great conflict. Accusations of blasphemy and host's rebels reached the climax when the Eternal, a surprising gesture, rose from his throne as it were ready to leave him. The infidels, in anticipation of an achievement, quieted down, while a sense of awe in the hearts of subjects penetrated light. He would deliver the domain of all creation, to deliver, if the vilest allegations. According to the logic from which Lucifer grounded their teachings, there was no alternative to the Creator. This tremendous expectation the universe followed in the footsteps of Yahweh. In a gesture of humility, the Creator divested himself of his crown and his royal robe, deposing them on the target throne. In his countenance there was an expression of resentment or anger, but of infinite love and sadness. Solemnly God proclaimed that the decisive moment had come when every creature should seal his decision to the side of light or darkness. A wide revelation warned of the consequences of a break with the source of life. With the look of tenderness, Creator contemplated their children. It was a look of humility, that full of love, begging them to stay at his side. Countless creatures, excited, corresponded to his kindly look, while a crowd stood crestfallen. Lucifer and his followers were aware of the seriousness of the moment. It was still possible to go back on their plans, indulging the repentant Heavenly Father who always loved them. While Downcast considered on the final decision, Lucifer and his followers heard the song of those who, in recognition and gratitude, placed themselves beside the Eternal. The last battle, fought in the hearts of the infidels, strained, come to think, contemplating his rebellious children, raised his voice a painful lament. My children, my children. Now I cannot call them that. Wanted so much to have them in my arms. I remember when I graduated with care. You appeared happy and perfect in chord of hope in eternal harmony. I lived for you, covering them with glory and power. You were my joy. Why have their hearts changed so much? What else could I have done to make them stay with me? Now my soul bleeds in pain for eternal separation. How will look at the empty seats where so often raised their voices in jubilant hosannas festive without me coming to mind a mix of happiness and pain? As infinite longing invades my being, and I know it will be eternal. Today, my heart broke and broke up will bear the scars forever. After proclaiming in tears as painful mourning, the Eternal, addressing himself to Lucifer, the cause of all evil, said, You got a name of honor to be created. Now no longer call Lucifer, but Satan, the enemy, the creator, and his laws. After lamenting the destruction of the rebel armies, the Eternal in slow steps went into the Garden of Eden, a place of universal throne. Where would now be his dwelling place? The hosts of the faithful accompanied his reverent steps, mysterious abandonment, unveiling a future that seemed difficult, suffering, and humiliation. Rebels occupy the divine throne, desecrating it as the dominion of sin. This quest tortured the heart of the eternal subjects. Leaving his beloved city, the Eternal himself led light amid the glories of the universe toward the great gulf about which hitherto silenced. If Ali was arrested once again, muted while seemed to read in the darkness of a future big fights. Before suffering the Eternal expressed in the sadness of his countenance, the faithful could finally understand the meaning of that mysterious abyss, consisted of a symbolic representation of the kingdom of rebellion. In saddened face of Yahweh manifested finally a glow that the faithful cheered. Raising his powerful arms against the darkness, commanded loudly, Let there be light. Immediately, the light of his presence filled the deep abyss, and triumphing over darkness, revealed an unfinished world covered by crystal-clear waters. With this gesture, the Eternal began a great battle by claiming his government light. Battle of love against selfishness, justice against injustice, humility against pride, freedom against slavery, life against death. Battle without truce would last until the dawn desired the divine king could return victorious to the holy hill of Zion, where, enthroned amid the praises of the redeemed, reign forever in perfect peace. The darkness in his escape pointed to the final annihilation of the rebellion. Abundant waters covering that world, hitherto hidden, symbolized eternal life to the faithful that would be conquered by love that sacrifices everything. The world was revealed to earth. Visited by the darkness and the light, it would be the scene of the great struggle. Rejoiced the faithful before the triumph of light that first day, when darkness rolled in his fury on the planet, succumbing to it in thick darkness. The light, which seemed unsuccessful, reborn victorious in a beautiful dawn. At dawn, the light of the second day, the Eternal commanded, Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide between water and water. Immediately, the warmth of his light made immense amount of steam to rise from the waters, enveloping the planet in a blanket of transparency indigo. Thus emerged the atmosphere, with its perfect blend of gases that would be essential to life that soon would crown the planet. The Creator, contemplating expansion, called it heaven. The atmosphere, full of glow, enveloped the earth, shadowed up to befall the twilight of another evening. Chapter 3.
There we go. That's setting the scene for the creation of Adam and Eve, and there's more drama, forthcoming.
Yeah, interesting that this doesn't get as much attention as the Book of Enoch, right?
See, I want, unfortunately, it's because I had shit playing over everything else, and so I just muted myself so it didn't interrupt everything. But I'm sort of trying to bring it back to the previous passage.
Yeah.
And because it brought up something that I'd been talking about just earlier today. I can't even remember which channel or chat or anything that I was on when this came up. And it was about how in the Bible, and believe me, I don't like organized religions. So I try and use what they say to prove points, because then they can't dispute them. So that's what makes it interesting. So if in the Bible they say that Lucifer, is it Lucifer, Satan? I can't remember which name they give it in which particular Bible, that is given dominion over the earth. Would that not therefore mean that earth is hell? And here's the interesting bit. Would our job not be trying to find the right way to get out?
No, that's why people call it Paradise Lost.
No, but would your life's goal, if you realize you were living on hell, would your life's goal not be trying to get out of hell when you died? Would you want to have to come back and do this shit again?
Good questions. I think
serious. No, I'm serious. But
yeah.
and here's where it goes further. I have no idea which religion is the right one.
Well, I would have to stop you there, DK, because it's heaven to some and hell to others. So I don't get your point. It's heaven to some and hell to others. Other people get to live life every single day like it's heaven, while others live in hell. So it's not hell for everyone.
Hey, what I'm saying is, when you die, are you coming back and doing this again, or did you do the right thing and move on? And which thing is the right thing? Because everyone's telling you different about which is the right thing. See, so if you pick the wrong thing,
so is it karma?
If you pick the wrong thing, does that mean you do this again? Like, isn't if there's only one way out of hell, if this is Christian based, and this is hell run by Lucifer, and to get out of here, you have to follow Jesus and that one path. What if there's not the one path, and you come back and do it again? Who's to say which is the right path? Like, which religion should we follow for it to be the right path for us to be able to move on without having to reincarnate and live through this travesty that is obviously decomposing as it goes? Remember,
here on that one.
There will come a time when the dead will inhabit the earth or something. Please, someone elaborate on that one. I can't remember.
No, it's the meek will inherit the earth. Those who are easily imposed upon.
Something about the dead.
That is a lie. That is nowhere in the Bible. You're thinking about in Dawn of the Dead, where the guy says, "When there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth." There's nowhere in the Bible does it say that.
Oh, okay. Sorry, my bad. I think it's in Greek or some shit mythology one. Sorry.
Yeah, it's the whole premise. It's the whole premise that too many people go to hell, and once the gates of hell are too full, that the evil and the dead will be able to walk among us. But they say the same thing about Halloween. So
It's all right. Your whole religion is based on pagan holidays.
That's right. Put up that Christmas tree with them pretty Christmas lights.
And you do realize the birth and death of Christ are inverted, which is a standard satanic thing.
That's right. That's why Santa Claus comes down my chimney and breaks into my house and eats my cookies.
Satan.
Uh-oh. Satan Claus. Uh-oh. I don't know, DK. I think none of us really know, and we're all grasping for straws while we're here.
Dude, I do the best I can, and I stream 24/7 on DLife. I am actually re-streaming this on my channel at the moment as well.
Well, maybe you will be the conversion. Maybe your conversions.
I'm so shadow banned everywhere. I'm doing my best. I'm so shadow banned, it's not funny though. But I really am trying. I've been trying for years. I've been trying for shit. Since the start of 21. Like February 21. Yeah, since after everyone that I was modding for, everyone I watched, they got banned for streaming January 6th shit. It was just after that I started streaming because there was no one else that was online that was doing it anymore. Because they all got banned for streaming January 6th. So
What were you talking about?
So I started streaming all the truth shit. Not shitting you. That
That's
is actually how I started streaming.
My video got removed from YouTube because I was able to take over 100 different gifts that connect elites to pedophile rings and different companies and different symbols. And but what's the point, DK? You can do it all day long.
Hey, dude, do you know Memory Hold?
No.
Like the Wayback site?
No. Have you heard of it's a person. Have you heard of Memory Hold? He was involved with not Pizzagate, Pedowood, I think ones with Mouthy Buddha.
I've heard the term, but I don't think I.
Dude, if you no, these are people's names. If you're saying you're involved in this and you're like drawing a blank and don't know these people's names, it's like I'm calling you out now.
I've never heard someone called Memory Hole before.
Memory Hold. Okay, look him up right now. Memory Hold. Capital H on hold, one word. Memory Hold. I think he's up to. Oh, fuck. I'll go find the link because I'm sub to him still. Holy shit! I think I'm mod on his YouTube channel.
It seems like you're far away from the mic. Like I'm having a hard time hearing you a little bit.
Me?
Yeah.
No, it's just because it's probably because I had my hand in front of it because I'm on a laptop, and I just yell at my microphone. So when I'm using the mouse, my hand is in front of it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I can hear you. It's just it seems a little, but that's fine. But I could try and answer some of those questions that you had at the beginning there, as best I can, if you want.
All right, let's go through those while I'm looking for. Are you on Telegram?
I am, but like I don't really like that platform so much. So I don't really. I mean, I barely log into it like maybe twice a year or something.
Dude, I just about live on there. I got banned from almost everywhere else, and had to live on Telegram and Discord for a year. Like I'm not kidding you. I'm about to get interviewed. I'm about to get interviewed on. Well, your Friday night, my Saturday. I'm about to get interviewed.
By who?
Alcohol Anonymous.
Roger Hansen.
So what are you going to talk about?
He's been on plenty of like actual like syndicated radio shows and stuff through America and through his producer. I think they even made it as far as Australia. I don't think they came to New Zealand, which is where I am. I don't think they got here, but yeah, I think he did say they hit a channel in Australia.
Congratulations.
That's pretty cool. So going back to the problem of evil or hell, this being the hell realm. Well, just going back on the book of Melchizedek, there like this is a place where good and evil exist at the same time, and life and death also exist at the same time. So this whole governance of good and evil as a political governance of the universe is being kind of tried and tested here. And also, I would say that it said that Lucifer had fully learned the knowledge of light, which seems kind of impossible for someone like me to believe, because God seems to be always doing new things. But so when he ventured into the darkness, it was a kind of a quest for that knowledge. But then when the time came to submit the governance of good and evil as the forever eternal governance, God said, "Into the darkness, let there be light." And slowly but surely, the light is, going to take over this darkness, and it's going to be purged out of all of eternity.
Amen.
So, amen. So, going back to which religion, well, one thing I'll say is, like, we know that we have the scripture, right? We know that Jesus was actually walking the earth, that he was here. The geography lines up, the history lines up, the prophecy lines up, and those are all good testimonies versus any of the other gods, quote unquote gods or religions, that don't even bother to show up. That's all I have.
There is an actual TV show which I started streaming, and unfortunately it had nudity in it, and I got warnings for it. That's the only thing DLive doesn't let you stream. You're not allowed to stream nudity unless, like, you X tag yourself, and that's it. It's like, X-rated type shit. And I forgot that it had nudity in it. I remembered one bit. So yeah, I'm definitely skipping past that scene. And there were others that I forgot about. But this show is called American Gods. I would love all of you, and the thing is, even the first episode isn't enough, because you still don't even understand what's going on. But I would love every one of you to watch the first episode of American Gods. If you can find, I'll get you a link, actually. Holy shit, I'm not kidding you. I'll get you a link for American Gods. Oh yeah, no, cool. I'm a mod on there, so I can do that. Cool.
Is it about like religious stuff or political stuff or both?
Not religious. Fully religious, all gods, and I mean all denominations of gods through history, including new ones like the worship of the web and technocracy and shit. This is actually fucking unbelievable. Like super, super fucking crazy. I'm truly not kidding you, this is mental.
No, I'm sure it's fascinating, but like I'll go back again. We have the scripture. We know that Egypt and Israel existed. We know that.
That's in it too.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, my point is basically, the God of Abraham, the God of Israel, is the only God that actually has bothered to manifest himself or attempt to manifest himself in the earth. And of course, he did manifest himself through Jesus Christ, but like, say, Mount Sinai or other miraculous events throughout that early biblical history. And I don't think that there's any other, like Thor or who are the other ones?
What are you on about? That all those gods manifested themselves many, many times through history. What are you
in the
talking
earth,
about?
like actually in
Oh,
the
no,
earth,
no,
and
no,
not.
they actually don't. No. What are you actually talking about?
I'm talking about actually showing up on top
all
of a
of
mountain.
those gods manifested themselves many times.
Okay, like where at, and like where's the evidence? Is there any physical
Well,
evidence?
we're at, like, so when Thor got cast out of Olympus and cast down to Earth, what are you talking about?
All right, like
All right.
is there any footprints?
There goes. No, there goes everything you just said.
But
by
but
saying
DK,
there
but
is one
DK,
other.
but DK, but DK. As a
But he just
Christian,
said there's
I can
none.
just say, but as a Christian, I can just say, well, that was a lie created by the devil to psyop a generation a long time ago to believe in other gods. So, as a Christian, I just assume that all
Everyone can try
religions
and be
are
a
a lie to
dickhead
keep me
about anything they
distracted. So,
want. Hey, everyone can try and be a dickhead about everything they want, can't they?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I guess.
I mean, have I ever lied about anything? I've never.
I can't make that accusation.
I've always said.
I'm not God.
I've always said, if you prove me wrong, I learned something. I'll admit it, and I learned something. I'm actually one of the few open-minded people around who isn't like, no, every damn thing I say is right.
But see, that's the problem, DK. As a Christian, you don't need proof that Jesus Christ walked the earth.
If you're just closed-minded,
no,
you're
you
not
don't walk by
open-minded.
sight. You walk by faith. So
You've got it around the wrong way.
yeah, sure,
You've got it
okay.
around the wrong way.
You got to see to
All right,
believe,
hold
DK,
on.
right? You got to see to believe.
Hold
Yeah.
on. So tell me, what's more open-minded than believing in the Son of God, Jesus Christ, and that he was resurrected and paid for our sins? I mean, that is like the most unbelievable thing that an open-minded person would consider.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I've definitely considered that. But the thing is, I'm so open-minded, I've considered all the other possibilities as well.
Okay.
Which unfortunately you haven't. And you're fixated on your one fabricated belief system that has been altered and edited so many times that you just believe the lie you're fed. If you believe any current version
imagine
of the
telling
Bible.
people who've had religious or personal spiritual experiences that it's indoctrination and institutions.
That definitely happens. It's nothing to do with believing a Bible or
Well,
going to church.
how dare you throw accusations at people by saying that their faith in Christ is through indoctrination or institution? Well, I mean, that's exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah, no, actually, I did say that. Yeah, I did say that, but yeah, no, I'll admit I said that. Yes.
Well, just know, DK, my faith doesn't come because some preacher threw a Bible at me. It's because I experienced it firsthand.
It came because you're indoctrinated since childhood.
That's right. There you go. That's right. Even though I wasn't in church when I was born, even though I wasn't in church until 9 years old, you're an idiot. You're just a drunk who yells and screams and calls people Jew cunts.
That only happens sometimes.
I love you, brother.
No one's actually had to put me in the position where I've had to do that. See, I'm not getting angry. No one's trying to be a dickhead tonight, are they? This is a reasonable conversation. See, I was born with a Catholic mother and an atheist father.
Uh-oh. Perfect combination. Like oil and water.
Wait, so my mum's taking me and my brother, and my brother was only 14 months younger than me. So we were both getting taken to church up to, I don't even know what age, but it was really young. Apparently, I would not sit still. Apparently, she couldn't like I didn't want to sit there in church.
No.
Yeah.
What kid doesn't? I've never seen a kid that wants to sit in church.
I know, no, but apparently my brother was okay.
But you can go sit in a schoolhouse for 8 to 9 hours.
Oh no, holy shit, no. I'm that guy that kid in high school who was sent out of almost every class, but still passed every subject.
You're a diamond in the rough.
Yeah, near photographic memory thing. So all I had to do was go and read like the textbook the night before an exam. And I say, sweet as, I'm good for tomorrow.
You say you get a photographic memory.
Near, I said.
Oh, well, remember my profile picture, because it's going to come see you in your sleep.
No, I'm not shitting you. I said near. Like, I'm really not kidding you. Yeah. Near photographic memory. It's what got me through fucking everything. So this is why I can piece different things together. Because I can remember things that I read or saw like years ago and piece it together with stuff that's going on now.
Amazing. I call that putting together the puzzle.
Hey, do you want a new breaking story? Which I've been saying for years, but is actually being announced as a thing right now.
Go ahead. Shock me, DK. Shock me with it.
Okay. Hang on, give me a sec. Where's this? No, I'm actually going to put my fucking camera on for this one. I'm not
real quick
you.
while you're doing that, if I could.
No, I'm not.
Well, hold on. I just got something real quick. You talk about dickheads or whatever. Like, we could actually literally say that Jesus Christ walked the earth, that he was he took a piss in the ground and actually walked the earth, right? Whereas Thor or who are those other ones? Like Vishnu or I don't know.
Loki. Any of the gods.
I forget. Like they like may have stories of being around or floating on like UFOs, but there's no like history of them like being on Earth interacting with the proletariat, and doing stuff like so. That's the difference, I think, is the evidence of the manifestation of in the earth of our one true God. Go ahead.
Holy crap. Yeah, no, what I was going to say has nothing to do with religion at all. But glad you got that off your chest. Okay, what I'm going to talk about is, oh, that's right, I was going to put my screen on, my camera on. What I'm going to, shit, my hat looks funny. Looks like it's sitting up too high. It's really weird with this camera angle.
Redhead Jesus.
No, brother. But, what I'm going to talk about is something that is just starting to be announced by the WEF, and it's something I've been talking about for years, like since I found out about it. And it's from someone else's stuff that he'd been doing about this subject for a lot longer. The WEF. Can I share screen? I haven't actually shared screen from StreamYard before. Can I share screen? Yeah. Can I share screen? Whoever's in control of this stream, TML. TML? Yeah. I won't try yet then. I'll just try and explain what it is. So basically the WEF is shifting its focus from climate change to the water. And in case people don't realize, about every decade, they shift focus on what the problem is. There's been a hole in the ozone layer, there's global warming, global cooling, acid rain. Like, no, serious, I'm not shitting you. If you look back,
I
if
mean,
you
yeah.
look back,
When I was a little kid, Al Gore was complaining about the ozone layer. What's your point? Yeah, we should have all been cooked by radiation by now, allegedly. But yet we're still here.
I live in New Zealand. I should have been fucking fried, brother. Because the hole was over the South Pole. New Zealand should have been cooked to fuck. Yeah.
Redhead Jesus.
But anyway, so now they're saying that that climate change isn't working, and they've had trouble getting everyone to take vaccinations. So they're going to move on to the water. Herein, and this is going to scare everyone. Like you're getting one of the biggest scoops anywhere. I think I've said this on about 3 channels so far, so this might be the 4th time I've said this. This is a major thing that you really need to start putting out there. So now they're going to shift from climate change to water. And suddenly there's toxic shrimp. Toxic shrimp that are radioactive being taken off shelves in Walmart. Now, do you want to know why? Look, I'm not shitting you. I could do a whole show on this one subject myself. Okay, there's a whistleblower who was working as a janitor or whatever down in Antarctica, and he came out and said they've got a weapon that causes earthquakes. They accidentally hit Christchurch twice. By the way, that's where I live. I moved here after the second earthquake to try and help with the recovery. I used to live a bit further north. I came down here to try and help people rebuild and shit. And for work. I'm not a dickhead. I wasn't purely fucking selfless. But I came down here to try and help everyone rebuild here. Yeah, I'm not going to fucking try and make myself out to be a saint. But I did offer to help some people for free and shit. They shout me some beer, I'll fucking come back and fix that later. Because their insurance wouldn't pay for something or other. So fucking shout me some beer, I'll come and fix that. That one's easy. Yeah, and I did things like that. Yeah, fucking
Hey, you know what toxic shrimp really is? Snafu.
Hey, but do you know what but do you know what? Yeah. See, the whistleblower said they accidentally hit Christchurch twice before they got it right. We had an earthquake right after Christchurch's second earthquake.
Yeah, but I mean, earthquake machines are pretty common knowledge for those who know about it.
Come on. If you can't tell me where it was, you have no idea what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do, because Grand Theft Auto 5 has an entire mission centered around stealing an earthquake machine that causes earthquake. And then in the exact same video game, they said that there's the Illuminati with a shadow government who has the clearance to operate on foreign and national soil without constraints. What's your point? You're a little slow to the LARP, DK.
Right, no. You are missing everything I'm saying.
No, we know that there's earthquake devices and that they're manipulating weather and messing with water. People have known about this for years. They were doing that with Fukushima, and no one cared when the dolphins were being cooked. No, you just yell and scream. Yeah, that's why the dolphins were being cooked, right?
But I heard something.
They're pulling irradiated shrimp off the shells, but there was cooking dolphins when Fukushima happened. But it's new. It's new. It's breaking news.
Hold on. Explain? As I said, I fucking know what I'm talking about, cunt. Do you want me to explain?
What are you talking
Because you
about? The
just
earthquakes or
jumped
the
in.
shrimp?
It's like, yeah, if you've got questions, sweet. But don't just jump in and tell me I'm wrong.
I never said you were.
Well, then what the fuck are you doing?
I'm saying
Well,
that, yeah,
I think
most
you
people
should-
know about earthquake
shut
machines. What's
up.
your point?
Sorry. Shut up.
Hold on a
Right.
second. Hold on a second.
Right.
I think we can agree that there's always been a conspiracy
So where do you
narrative.
think hey, shut up. So where do you actually think they were aiming for? See, this is the
I don't
question
get
no
paid
one
for
asked.
this.
No, this is the question no one asked. Where do you think they were aiming for if Christchurch was an accident?
Well, I mean, I'm going to assume, like with HARP, it's not perfect science. So, I mean, do you really think these people can pinpoint it directly? I mean, come on.
Okay, we're talking 2011, early 2011. Christchurch, the second one was February 2011.
I love
Well,
this.
I don't know,
What
DK.
happened in
What's close to
2011?
it? Is there any major population centers? Is there any military or strategic, places for them to have hit? You got to give me
Worse.
some, information here to work with.
Worse. Like worse.
Worse
as in truly worse. Yeah. As in probably one of the worst places an earthquake could have hit. Yeah.
How many people are there?
I know the island is about the size of New Zealand, but the population is a lot larger.
Okay, so like maybe 100,000 people.
Dickhead. New Zealand's got like fucking 5 mil.
I mean, I'm talking about
back then, sorry. This is 2011. Say 4.3 mil. And this has got this has got probably, I don't know, 5, maybe 10, somewhere in there. Between 5 and 10 times that.
Okay, so what about the town of Christchurch?
I think the population at the moment's around. I don't actually keep up with statistics. I'm pretty shit. I'm just going to be guessing. 250 to 300,000.
Okay, so that's pretty big.
Yeah, and I hate cities. Like, honestly, I hate cities. This is the biggest city I've ever lived in, and I didn't like it. I moved here to help after the fucking earthquakes. Man, yeah.
So what you're saying is that there was a intentional earthquake done in a certain place, but it happened to fall into a different place on accident.
Well, they were testing their weapon, and they hit Christchurch twice. Like Christchurch got hit in September of 2010, and then February of 2011. And seeing as you're not guessing, then Japan, the Fukushima disaster, happened in March. So no one asks what was the actual target. I have not heard one person ever, other than me, I'm not shitting you. Like, even in comments and shit that I've seen. I mean, I'm sure other people have, but I haven't seen it. I have not seen anyone else ask, so what were they actually aiming for?
Okay, well, I guess let me ask this question. I mean, but what leads you to believe that it was an earthquake, a targeted earthquake, though? Because I mean, it says that only 185 people died. I mean, that's not really a lot. I mean,
and how do you miss twice?
Hey, shush, child. Let me explain. As I said, I could make a whole show just about this topic. See, what it circles back to now is the fact that if that earthquake generator did happen, if this is correct, I mean, this ties in too well and confounds even me. Okay, so if this did happen and they hit us twice by accident, their third target was the actual target, and there was the earthquake off the coast of Japan, which is the one that created the tsunami, which is the one that hit the Fukushima nuclear power plant, which most people think only had two nuclear reactors, whereas it actually had 4. The information that I found.
Okay, DK. Okay, I'm on the page with you now.
Hey, stop. The information I found can no longer be found on the internet. I'm not shitting you. The guy's name is this is a stupid name, I know, but the nuclear proctologist, and he was doing it from about 2012. 13? Like, he was actually doing it from way back then. I found this shit like a long time ago.
The nuclear proctologist.
And the next time I went to try and look for it online, it had been put behind a paywall. And now if I go look for it, it's not even there. But I'm not fucking lying.
Look, according to Google, shut up, DK, shut up. It's for the audience. Anyway, according to Google, between Christchurch and Fukushima, there's the Pacific Ocean, several countries between Christchurch, which is New Zealand, and Fukushima, Japan, including Australia, Papua New Guinea, and the Philippines. The direct flight path also crosses vast stretches. So, I mean, I still don't get your point, DK. I haven't seen anything to lead that there's a tactical advantage anywhere near any of these places. I mean, I'm not even getting any major military bases.
Actually, there is, but
I'm LARPing. I'm LARPing, the freak. I want to see if he knows.
Dude, hang on. You haven't let me tie any of this in together to what I'm saying yet. You just keep interrupting along the way about each of the individual little things that have been leading towards this.
Well, according to the experts, there's no relation.
No. And I know most people don't know this, but there was 4 nuclear reactors at Fukushima, and not just 2. One of them, do not ask me how this happened. This is witness reports. I cannot qualify this bit as being true. But they fucked up because they actually stored the depleted uranium at the tops of the buildings above each of the reactors. So when this shit happened, it also reacted with the depleted uranium as well. Okay, so 2 of them had normal nuclear reactor meltdowns. One, and I swear, this is from shit I read, and I can't remember if there was a video testimony, but it was a written testimony. I swear that he said it just defied physics. It just just imploded, disappeared, and took 2/3 of the building with it. Just gone.
The Fukushima is definitely a tragedy.
That one's fucked up enough. The 4th one's the problem. See, they built the nuclear reactor over an underwater river because in case there was a nuclear meltdown, they thought the reactors would drop into the river and their river would cool it down. It hasn't. There's a reactor in an underwater river under Fukushima that has been spewing radiation into the Pacific Ocean for 14 years.
Yes, and according to statistics, no one has died. No one has died from any of the radiation from Fukushima.
Wait.
It's out in the environment now.
Hang on. This is where it gets to the next part. So this is why the WEF is now changing their focus from climate change to the water. This one is real and is getting worse. Because if they can't shut down that fucking reactor, that is constantly pumping radiation into the water. They're going to ban you from eating all seafood. They're going to ban you from going into the water. Do you not actually understand everything that they're doing?
No,
I've been
actually,
saying that, no, as I said, this whole thing ties together. You are
I'm sure it
arguing
does.
with all the little bits that I said. When
Hey,
the whole
CK.
thing actually ties together, bro.
Real quick,
Holy
one thing.
shit,
Did
man.
you know that here in America, like Red Lobster for 2 years has had to cancel its what do you call it, the King Crab Fest or whatever, because there's no king crabs no more.
Did you know that McDonald's has had lawsuits for having human meat in their fucking food?
Oh my god.
Oh, yeah,
no.
we knew that. Rebel Finkelstein already told us that.
Oh, dude, I did a show about that on Rumble. I played that 1 hour interview. I played that as a show, and I just kept pausing and talking about everything I knew about shit. That 1 hour interview, I turned into a 4-hour show.
Congratulations.
I know, I'm awesome.
Well,
Thank you.
you know what geoengineering is? You've heard of that, like where the chemtrails and the, all that stuff. I mean, there's always going to be some sort of conspiracy, fear narrative. But I think now they're actually becoming real. Like they're not just playing anymore and like making up pseudoscience. So like we see the effects of this climate engineering and the Fujisaki. Or I'm probably mispronouncing that, but that was truly one of the most devastating human events that's like happened, and it still is polluting the Pacific. And who knows what's going to happen, because all that radiation is going to get into everything eventually. It's terrible.
Yeah.
That's right. Man's ambition and greed will be the destruction.
People don't realize it's already destroyed
All for them shekels.
everything along the northern Pacific. And everything that feeds on the fish or sea life in the northern Pacific, so that carries on into the fucking land. I'm actually wondering if this could be part of the reason that you're getting the rabbits, deer, and everything else, squirrels and shit, with all these deformations. It could be because of being in proximity to that fucking toxic water. As I said, this is what I've been talking about for years. This isn't something that...
And congratulations, The Simpsons told me that there was going to be a three-eyed fish because of radiation, and then they put it in the Simpsons movie. So,
honestly, do you know what they actually did put into Simpsons? This is actually in the movie. That one bit too many, and then it pollutes the whole thing. So they got to put a dome on it. You know
what else they put in the movie? They also put in the movie that the NSA spies on everyone. But
dude, do you know what they're going to put a dome on? They're going to put a dome on us, and it'll be access to the ocean. We won't be allowed near
The sky is falling. The sky is falling.
No, this is what the government's going to do, you dumbass.
Chicken source.
Dude, I am the source, and I did fucking check it. You can't.
Oh, you're definitely a big-headed, tiny-armed T-Rex.
The last time I looked them up, The last time I looked up the guy, because I've been speaking about it quite a few times recently, the last time I looked him up, and it's called the nuclear proctologist, the last time I looked him up, it said that he was being charged with threatening death on 2 scientists because of their reports on the safety of the Fukushima plant. So he's still speaking out about it, and he's facing charges over speaking out about it. But he went too far. He didn't say, like, publicly saying you want to kill someone is stupid. Then again, they could just be trying to fuck with him. Especially seeing as now they're trying to actually use it as the real excuse. And this one will be harder to debunk, because I actually believe this is a real thing, and I've been speaking about it for years. So now that it's too late, this is their new scare tactic on the world. Like, they've allowed this to happen for 14 years before they even start saying it's a thing, start removing food from shelves. Climate change ran out. What are we doing next? Oh, that's right. The Fukushima plant's our backup plan. Let's do the toxic fucking water thing. And if you don't believe me, I actually have shit about that saved on Telegram.
No, I agree. I think the very long LARP of you drive too many cars and run too much air conditioners isn't exactly exaggerated or exaggerated, however the hell you say the word. It hasn't, expedited the process, I think, or the change that they really wanted. That's why, they sit here and put in your movies, for the last 20 or 30 years that, your polar ice caps are going to melt and raise, most of the water above, sea level, and, all major cities are going to be underwater. So
can you speak on anything I just said now that I finally finished?
Because the point is
what?
Because
you argued while I was speaking.
How are you gonna stop the Fukushima radiation? Are you gonna go over there and stop the radiation? Are you gonna pull the elephant's foot out of the ocean's ass? No, you're not.
Dude,
so I mean,
have you got anything to say about what I said? You are arguing with me constantly all the way.
No, DK. We heard about this like 15 years ago when it happened, and it's still happening. So I don't get. I mean, it's just another part of the LARP.
No.
So.
I said you are arguing with me. Now that I've finished, have you got anything to argue with?
Do I have anything to argue about irradiated shrimp? No. What's your point?
Hey, exactly that.
That just means I'm not going to eat shrimp. So what is that going to stop them from irradiating the shrimp? Yes, I'm annoying because I don't stop the irradiated shrimp. More complaining but not doing. That's all I'm hearing.
You are annoying. That is what you're hearing.
Yeah, I'm annoying. Yeah, whatever. Your point is?
See, once I finished, you couldn't argue with me.
There's just nothing to argue about. So what? So what? It's irradiated water. Are you going to stop it? Are you going to create a device that can help people siphon out the radiation? No. So, I mean, we're all going to be swimming in irradiated water. Or they can just put the irradiated water up into your, atmosphere, and it rains down on you like rain, and you get it anyway. But what's your point?
Hey,
you better get that umbrella.
Hey, shut up! The best thing to do is to try and contain the fucking the reactor, so it doesn't keep spreading more.
Okay, well, you get right on that, DK. Let's get it done.
What you need to do. Like,
so how do we get it done? So how are you going to get it done, DK?
Fucking fix the whole ocean on the planet. No.
Why
It's
not?
the thing
Why
that's
not?
putting
Elon
some
Musk
shit
can go to
out.
Mars. Elon Musk can go to another planet, but we can't save the one we live on. Well, damn.
Exactly. Oh, by the way, he can't go to Mars.
Yeah, sure he can. All he's got to do is open a Stargate portal.
Actually, that's more believable than a fucking spaceship.
Yeah, I have to actually agree with that.
Like, I'm not shitting you. I hadn't thought about that. That is actually more believable than a fucking space rocket to Mars. But here's something that'll really screw with your head.
Good luck with that.
Oh, this will work. On a flat Earth, the sun and the moon are supposed to be under the firmament, correct?
Yes.
So theoretically, you could actually travel to the moon or the sun.
Well, that's why David Bowie put Skeleton on the Moon in his last music video before he died of cancer, allegedly.
Hey, it's just a stupid thing, thought that I had. I like fucking with globers and flat earthers. To be honest, it's easier to disprove globe earth than it is to disprove flat earth. But I don't think either of them are quite right, and I don't know what is.
I will agree. I think
don't have the
Flat
ability.
Earth is a psyop, yes.
No, flat earth is closer to true than globe. I just don't know what the truth actually is.
I mean, I agree, but Flat Earth is still a psyop because it's not completely flat, but yeah.
Yeah, it is.
No,
What
it's
is-
not.
What is this flat?
No, it's not. It's
What
not
is it
completely
flat?
flat. Hey, DK, go put some water on a countertop and watch it run off. It's not completely flat.
That means your countertop isn't.
I think the Bible describes it perfectly well, like a stamp underneath wax clay. You know how you take a ring and you push down the wax and it turns into like a little bowl. You know that makes more sense to me. Bowl of water than a flat surface. So I don't know. Do you believe? Do you think there's an ice wall, guys? I don't.
I believe there's an ice wall, and shit.
Uh-oh, is that why they're melting it?
And I wish I could show and prove why. Do you know of the European clocks, where there's like a large circle, and the smaller circle inside that is the clock?
Yes, I've seen them.
Right. So think of those as a cog. The larger cog is our reality. The smaller cog is our reality. The larger cog is what is actually out there. So it depends on whether they go to the leading edge of the cog and they say, it's melting. Or they go to the trailing edge and they go, it's expanding. The circle is slowly moving around. And the moon is a picture of our planet. At least however many years ago when it happened. The moon is actually a picture. So if you look at the moon and then like invert it because it's in mirror, look at it. It's like we are. When you are like, if you don't invert it, we're like the top right corner. But once you've inverted it, we're the bottom right corner. And the thing is moving anti-clockwise. Dude, I watched like I already believed this anyway. Like, I'm not kidding you. This is already what I thought it was. This is why there's ice ages and everything else. This rotation around the whole outside cog of where the sun and moon are is based on the magnetic North Pole that keeps moving, and it moves in a circle, and we move like that circle moves around it and keeps going around. But it's a 26,000 year cycle. So it's not quick. So that's why they keep coming across things that didn't get away quick enough last time. See like the kids' movie Ice Age. Like I didn't realize it could be that real, but it really could be. If you're not at the front edge that's in the sun that's moving forward, if you're caught in that back edge where the ice is coming and shit and it's freezing up, you really could be getting screwed over. And this explains extraterrestrials, because extraterrestrial means, I know everyone says extra land, yeah, other land. It could be underground, it could be one of these other continents that the moon says are out there. Like once it got all frozen, they could have been lucky enough to have enough technology that kept their civilization alive. They could have ultramagnetic shit. They could be the ones with the fucking UFOs and shit. I don't know. I like having crazy theories. That's what keeping an open mind is all about. How about you? Sorry, that's right. You're stuck to a book. Did he just?
I did.
There you go, DK. That's right. I'm just a little goyim slop.
Well, don't be.
Yeah.
No, serious. Don't be. Like, what the fuck? But I
I'm
need
not
to go
sure.
grab another
I'm
beer.
not sure.
Hey,
I'm not sure what that has to do with rejecting Elon Musk's butt chip, but yeah.
I reject all his shit as well. So I agree with that. Don't worry. But I need to grab another beer. Back in a second. But yeah, so don't talk bad about me while I'm away. Wait till I get back. Abuse me on my phone. It's much more fun that way. Oh, you got nothing else to talk about other than abusing me. Holy shit.
Abusing you. That's hilarious. Me abuse you? That's funny. Well, there you go. There you have it, folks. Earthquake weapons and irradiated shrimp. Now, what's the solution? And how many people are going to subscribe to actually doing it? Get your Red Lobster $9.99 irradiated shrimp special. Buy one irradiated platter, get a second one free. Go to McDonald's and eat your human Big Macs. No wonder when you go to Taco Bell, you're always ending up on the toilets because it's fucking grinded human meat. No wonder they say it's a grade above dog food. It's the devil's LARP, and we're all in it, I guess. Flat Earth is a LARP, dude.
Yeah, all
I
right.
like-
I brought this show back because the freak wanted to do this whole presentation thing. So I think I'll cut this off here at this point. And I do have a recording to show. So I mean, I ended the show like 3 hours ago or something. But yeah, blessings to all the people that are here.
I'm back now. I said I was going for a piss. Oh no, I said I was grabbing a beer. I went for a beer and went for a piss.
Yeah, you guys start something.
My toilet and fridge are downstairs. Holy shit.
Yeah, you got to start something on your own, guys. I gotta shut this down. I'm definitely falling asleep here.
Hey, DK. So you say that it was a mistake or a miss of the earthquake weapons from New Zealand to, Japan, which is quite a long distance, very long distance. It's quite a big miss. Hold on. Wow.
TML just said he's shutting down. If you want to carry on, shit. Let me grab my Discord link.
It's cool, the freak. You can finish your thought.
Can you just give me a couple of seconds, please, TML?
Yeah, I got you, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I'll just post my link and shit so people can jump on my channel for people who don't know me and whatever.
Yeah, cool.
And this will be on D Live, so there's even less censorship. Just so you know, I'd be nice on YouTube.
Yeah, the freak knows your channel for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's for everyone. That's for everyone, and it's already open, I think.
What time is it there?
10:47. So I give it an hour and a half or so because I've got work tomorrow. But I don't have to start till 10, so maybe 2 hours.
Well, I just wanted to put out there, like, the mistake of the earthquake at Christchurch being, the real target was in Japan or whatever. That's like a huge miss. And for it to happen twice in the same spot is, the probability is really low. But the fact that the place is called Christchurch and kind of the hamster wheel hold on. The hamster wheel to try to connect it to that nuclear plant in Japan, like, isn't that just a denial of Jesus Christ and what he says about the earthquakes and everything else?
One more? There's one more that's even crazier, and this is another thing that I think I was the only person who noticed. I don't know if anyone else has said it since. Maybe they have, maybe they haven't. I don't know. Pearl Jam came and played in Christchurch. They have a song called Tremor Christ, right? Pearl Jam came and played in Christchurch in 2009. It was pretty close to
wait a second.
Yeah, no, but the thing is, at the end of the song, Tremor Christ, the very last line, he said, Tremor Christchurch. And the earthquake was like a year later.
I thought that was a Pearl Jam song.
I said it was a Pearl Jam song.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they played live in Christchurch, and that's what he said at the end of that song.
So, if you go by the Occam's razor or whatever that, theory is, the simplest or the easiest solution or answer is usually what it is. Like, why couldn't that be, instead of some like earthquake generating machine, like literally something that is waking up the people or trying to be a sign of Jesus Christ happening at Christ Church? And we know there's going to be earthquakes and stuff,
hey,
places that are
could
going to
be.
be the start of
It
birth
could
pains.
be. Hey, it could be. But
There you
someone
go.
said, dude, I've seen the machine that does this.
So do you want to pray right now for?
So does that mean you don't believe in HARP? You don't believe in chemtrails? You don't believe in anything else?
No, I
Because
believe
it's
that
only
stuff.
supposed to be. And if you actually think it's Jesus that is creating earthquakes and shit,
I mean,
you don't
he
even
said
know
it.
your own religion.
He said it in Matthew 28, right?
No,
Or, I'm sorry, Matthew 24.
no.
But you're talking about like
Jesus is
9,000
God's
miles
son.
away.
God does it. No, see, you're ignorant of your own shit.
Well, how far away is it?
God does it, not Jesus. Jesus was who he put here to try and teach everyone. God is the one who does it all. You're just ignorant.
Well, God
And
glorified Christ.
to be honest, I'm of the belief that Jesus was one of many prophets. And all that happened is every time the belief got twisted and thwarted by evil men who turned it into a religion. I believe every prophet was sent by God, and fuckwits just fucked with it.
All right, what's the distinction?
That's
between
why
all
you
of
have
them?
religion.
Is there, do you not recognize there's a distinction between Christ and all the other prophets?
No.
You don't. Like, do you believe Jesus was sent?
There's all shit that people can point out that's fake and true, and all of them. I'm not going to go through it.
All right, do you believe that he was sinless?
I'm not kidding you. It is that simple. There's enough people that have pointed out Christ is true, Christ is fake. Muhammad's true, Muhammad's fake. There's that. Right. There's shit about all of them.
Do you believe he was sinless?
If everything that was is said about Jesus was true,
do you believe he was sinless?
That's pretty fucking awesome. But then again, I have been visited myself.
All right, Redhead Jesus. Do you believe he was sinless?
Do I believe he was sinless? No.
That's a problem.
No. He died because he committed sin. And that was Mary Magdalene.
Oh my goodness.
See the shit that I think is edited out, even in most versions of it. See, Mary Magdalene was a prostitute that he took in and saved. And I do believe they lay together. And that's where the story of the last scion comes from. Is the fact that either Jesus had a son or his parents had other siblings. But see, that doesn't work.
See, but that is actually the reason why Muhammad was sent.
See, it doesn't work.
No, I'm telling you.
Parents had other siblings. That wasn't a touched by God thing, was it?
Right.
So
by the man
Joseph
Joseph.
To sire children for there to be such a thing.
But you're talking about the Christ having lineage with Mary Magdalene, and there's a oh shoot, I lost audio.
There is some movie that goes on. Oh shit, it might be. Is it actually National Treasure 2 or some shit? Fuck. I hope it's not too cheesy or Hollywood.
Yeah, so let's give our closing thoughts, as I said. No.
All right.
Go ahead,
guys. Everyone who knows me knows where to find me. I post my link somewhere. I'll post it in the YouTube chat as well. Anyway, love yous all. Much love, no fear.
Am I here?
Yeah, you're there.
All right. Sorry about that. Yeah, so I'll just say goodbye. I don't like long, drawn out goodbye, so I'll just drop down. Great show. Love you.
Of course.
And
You're
I had a
always
lot of
welcome,
fun.
my friend.
All right, buddy. Take care.
Yeah, thank you, my friend. Blessings. Okay, let's go back to this sort of replay that I had lined up here. So there's like little musical breaks in this, so I'll try to skip them the best I can. So yeah. So we'll figure that out together, my friends. Blessings. Yeah, of course, DeFreak. I appreciate you. Yeah, we went a little overboard there with the show. It is what it is. Lots of material today to consider. Obviously, the first 6 hours of material. We did end up taking a look at a Louisville Technological Society, right? But we had Avian Boot on. Bunch of different discussions we had. We obviously had the homie on, right? Our friendly neighborhood LARP crusader. So I appreciate him. I appreciate the Freak. I appreciate Hannah Montana. I appreciate ESP. I appreciate all you guys. Thank you guys so much. And yeah, try not to go over 12 hours. Yeah, thanks to Freak. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. That's why I gotta like gauge these times in these replays. But yeah. Anyways, enjoy this replay. A key event, right? Solidifying different correspondences we have. And surprisingly, a very memorable moment with Henko Flamio. Right, so yeah. So I know we have our differences recently, but you know, helps me see that there's something more there that brought us together. You know, blessings to all the people. Right? And blessings to the homie Hank. Anyways.
Has infiltrated the media, the way that the wealthy have controlled the masses through propaganda. People buy things not because they want things, because they've been conditioned to buy things. It's insane. And you know, here's what gives me hope. Boy, I can understand there's always been war in the past, but from what my life has allowed me to discover, what God has allowed me to find, there are so many amazing men and women alive today. You know, they're not as well known. They're not out there for the fame and the profits, but they're really sharing wisdom. And so there's a spiritual revival, there's a spiritual awakening that's happening all around the world.
Yeah, and that is what you need, you know, for a good army. You need some morale, you know. So that's a good thing.
Thank you.
Listen, I'm talking about an army, Jack, and it's not necessarily to off everybody, but it needs to be an army. You need to fight. I mean, you need to fight. You know, you're gonna encounter some resistance, right? So you gotta have this this fighter spirit, this warrior spirit. You know, whether you want peace or not. I mean, yeah. There's gonna be victims, Jack. There's gonna be people that, you know, that's.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, in regards to those victims, you know, on both sides of the war, there's going to be victims. So it's imperative that the armed forces make sure that they're doing so righteously and justly, and not for any kind of private gains or gains of any kind of
structure that they wish to implement, but to allow things to happen in a natural, progressive manner, rather than trying to force it like the government we already have.
Sorry, my mind drifted, and I went to pull something up. The Beatitude, or the Beatitudes, right? The Sermon on the Mount. It's totally off from what you guys were discussing, I think, and I apologize for that. But the idea of the meek shall inherit the earth. This came from that sermon I have linked in the description too. Meek is not weak. Meek, as I understand from the original Greek word, it's more in line with the word tame, right? So what does it mean to be tame? It means you're strong but controlled. You're controlled strength. That's the way we're to live, is with a controlled strength, not controlling others, but with a controlled strength in ourselves, with the faith and the power of Christ, right? As a true sovereign here on earth, we can claim that when we own it. When we become responsible for our sovereignty, we own it. When we become responsible for our health, we own it. We've got to become responsible for who we are, how we live, and most importantly, how we treat one another. Because this is something I've considered too. I trust the men and women playing along in Congress, funding the wars, and all these these young men and women being sent off and into the wars. There's so many conflicts in this world right now. And the United States taxpayer has a hand in the majority of them.
All right, so all you need to do is tell them to knock it off, and then the road's fixed.
Well, we point out the fact that, thank you, you reminded me and got me back on track. The men and women in Congress, they're playing the theatrics of government, right? They're playing these roles that everyone is doing as they believe. I don't believe they understand the damages they're causing, right? Through the work of Dr. Gabor Mate, right? An expert. Through his work, you can show that the systems of education and economics and politics, even in America, these systems have driven mankind insane. Unhealed trauma, profiting from problems, profiting from exploitation, manipulation. These have become common day practices in America. That's why no one trusts anyone.
Common day practices because people give up their responsibilities to do it themselves over to those people to do it. This is the convenience and comfort of the government that people impose upon themselves and then cry about it when it doesn't go their way. That's that duality. You can't have a government unless you know how it's supposed to govern you and then cry about it. You have to be able to come with a resolution.
That's what I want to do. I mean, even as a union, I've mentioned this before, but as a union guy and as a citizen, with workers and our government, I think we have the responsibility, the obligation to invite ourselves to the table every opportunity we can, right? It's time to have true input instead of oversight. These governors telling people how to be. That's not what government is. That's not what leadership is. This is what I really want to stress to America, especially those who want to call themselves Christians. The example of Donald Trump as a leader in America is disgusting. Leaders serve. Leaders are honest. Leaders are humble. Leaders care. And you know what? Maybe I shouldn't speak too harshly because I haven't been paying much attention.
Yeah, exactly. You sound like a little bit Tommy right now.
Do you think he thinks in complete thoughts?
I was just thinking the same thing as I was reviewing your comment. I don't think he even has complete thoughts. Yeah,
That's why it's
He's
so
like-
hard to like interpret what the fuck he's talking about. It's like a skipping CD or something.
That's what the ego mind does. You got to pay attention to it. Watch others for those things, right? Incomplete thoughts, random unrelated topics. It's the symptoms of a wandering mind, and a wandering mind is lacking focus. That's how we
But it's
drive
not
the
lacking company. I bet there's a lot of voices in there.
Right.
Yeah, it's quite reactive of a mind. Yeah. But do you think, Jack, that the ego is? Do you regard the ego as a bad thing?
Well, it depends on the definition of bad.
Okay.
Here, I actually compare the ego to the Antichrist. It's
yeah, okay. So that's an answer there. That yeah, okay.
It's built within us. But here's my idea on the big picture as well, is that even evil, it's given by God. It's allowed by God. It's brought forth for a purpose. So within us, there is the tendency of evil. There is the tendency of selfishness and corruption, manipulation, all sorts of things. And those can be bad, but even the bad skills can be used for good things. And that's why if we can take our anger and use that as motivation to move us forward, it's a powerful driving force, right? If you direct it in a healthy way towards your, exercising or project construction. Anger is a powerful force to drive us and move us. Fear is as well. But those are the dark sides of life. The light comes from love. And when we allow love to lead us, right, through our choices. So the next thing I'm doing in my day, the next project, whatever I'm doing, it's done with the idea of love. Love in the best ways that we can. That's the way to find fulfillment. The way to find a life of our dream.